The following program deals with a controversial
subject.
The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
the top talents in the comic book business are here to tell everything they know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Tuesday night here on Beyond Wednesdays.
Jesse,
as we're
we're
showing
live, right?
we're showing each other our new things. We've bought or we found and we're putting up on eBay, right? So yeah, you gotta love it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Tuesday night. I gotta fix what episode it is on this one.
I think it's is it 19?
I feel like I lost a week somewhere.
21? No, it's 19, 20. What's in between 19 and 21?
I don't think it's episode 20, but
No, why does 20 stick in my head for some reason? It just like sticks in my head.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably why.
All I know is I feel like $200 lighter in my wallet.
Yeah, I was gonna say you do look lighter.
Yeah.
Are you on that new diet?
Yeah, I lost
Shikari diet.
Whole dollars.
Shikari diet.
The Shikari diet.
Episode 67, ladies and gentlemen, and yes, Dennis will be paying up to me and this guy right here, Mr. Sean Udachko, who's in the chat. He says, "Yo, have a great show." Yeah.
I just want to say something for the record. You know how that Deadpool Wolverine and Deadpool met his nice doppelganger, Nice Pool? I can't even remember being here last week. I think Nice Dennis was actually here last week.
Well, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it's the opposite. I think it was a bit of the opposite. But yeah. We apologize, you guys. We grow as live shows continue and we get this thing figured out. We grow with it, and I think we're figuring it out over here as we go. And we enjoy you guys hanging out with us, and we also realize that we want to get guests on the show, and we're going to continue to do that. And last week was a little bit off kilter, but we figured it out, and we're moving straight forward with Dennis as our albatross on the front of the fucking ship. It's just going to be Dennis hanging by the ship from his toes. So
just like Jeffrey Epstein.
Was
Too soon?
Definitely not suicide. Definitely not.
Definitely.
Definitely.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. It definitely was suicide.
Definitely was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look at that. Sean says, "Okay, bro, sounds good. I'm kidding, man. Donate it to a veteran organization. That's dope."
Emmett, send me a veteran organization in your area that I can send it to.
There we go.
Fisher House. There's 100 of them around the country. When vets are in the hospital getting worked on, their families can stay in this.
Oh, nice.
Really nice house.
It's like McDonald House.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was a Air Force guy, a pilot who, when he got out, he became a billionaire, and he started building them, and now it's a.
So he worked for the CIA, hauling stuff out of Vietnam.
That would be my guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Had a little guilty conscience. And
there we go.
decided,
There we go. $200 to a veterans organization.
You want yours sent there too, Brian?
Of course. I think that's a good idea.
That's awesome.
So,
well, I'll tell you what. I'll match it.
Look at that, you guys. That's what we're talking about. So, great way to start the show. So we appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight, and thank you. Look at that. Even Sean said he'll match it too. That's fucking awesome.
Wow.
Hell
all
yeah.
Right. Let's coordinate that so it all goes in at the same time.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. So,
Excellent.
Hey, let's put it in the name
and
of
speaking of that, Emmett, glad to see you're not in the hospital right now.
I just got out a few hours ago.
Excellent.
And he is well. He is okay.
Yes.
But how long did you stay in? How long were you in for?
I got in Sunday night, and I got out this morning. Well, about noonish. Yeah.
We're glad you're okay, brother.
Yeah, man. And I go back in on Thursday, and I'll be out on Friday night.
Oh, yes. Well, at least you said the
$6 million man.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
VA is treating
Just
you
about,
good.
yeah.
Government kept the rest of that.
Oh
though.
yeah. Let me tell you, the people that work there are very serious about helping the vets. They've done a really good job of turning around the veterans. In the 90s, man, it was a horror movie, and
Right.
now it is.
My dad.
I wouldn't go anywhere else.
I'll tell you a really quick story on this. My dad was a vet. He went to the Arizona VA. You guys are well aware of that.
Yeah.
They gave him a knee replacement, and I can't walk. I can't play golf. They went in and they checked it again. No, it's healing okay, and it kept building up scar tissue. He finally said, "I'm just going to dip in my own pocket and go to a whatever one of those fancy knee doctors is.
Yeah.
Not in the system." They're like, "I hate to tell you this, but the VA put the wrong kneecap in you 20 years ago, and the scar tissue is built up so bad we can't even touch it."
Yeah, that was the early VA. Now, all your surgeons aren't actually VA doctors.
Oh, good.
So, in the Bronx, they're all a lot of guys that are residencies, and then they have one guy that comes from a teaching hospital. I'm going out to West Haven. West Haven uses all the doctors from Yale University Hospital. That's who the head of thoracic surgery at Yale is, the one that did my quadruple bypass.
Oh,
So yeah, like you can't buy the care they have now.
good.
Yeah.
Good.
So
A long time ago it was. Yeah.
did you
not
guys
good.
did you guys happen to get a chance to see Rob Liefeld and the Mark Miller interview?
Oh my God.
Oh
dude.
no.
It was
Guys, so good.
I haven't seen napalm being dropped like that since Vietnam.
It was excellent.
Really?
Check this out. Here we go.
You know what, Mark? The great thing is I get paid twice a year on all this stuff. Action figures, games, comics. It's been very lucrative. I'm very happy that my young self, if I could get my DeLorean, I just go back and fist bump my old 1991 self and say, "Good job. You came through for the family. The whole family's so happy. Like you did a good job." But it wasn't as contentious back then. Those deals were readily available. That's why I was like, "What, you mean I got a piece of this? Sign. So no, and here's the other thing, Mark, is I'm not scared to come out and call them out on it. And that's the other thing. I was told in 2019 by I'll just call him Harumph, and Harumph. He's such a twat. Harumph told my attorney, "We don't like it when Rob says not nice things about us." Well, I don't like it when you bone me, okay? So
Dude, it was pure Liefeld magic the whole time. Very good interview. I suggest anybody go check it out. Liefeld is
It's
the
not
GOAT.
just that, man. Mark is killing it on the circuit right now. I'm
Yeah.
finding out things about how brilliant Mark Millar is, and it's Miller.
Miller,
Miller, but
Yeah.
he is dead on with everything that he's saying, and he doesn't give a shit, just like Liefeld doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I suggest anybody that's into comics in general. You don't have to be in the industry. Just if you enjoy comics, I suggest you go check out that interview. It was fantastic.
I just sent you 2 pictures from his show that he just did on Spotify as well. This guy is amazing. How he not only takes care of his family, his business, his brand, and he also takes care of some of his close retailers as well. So he was pimping out one of my exclusives I did with him in 2017 on his show a couple days ago. So
That's awesome.
Always good stuff about.
If you support Rob, Rob supports you.
Yeah. Yep.
I think Rob just he's another one of the guys that, I mean, there's a little bit more oomph to Rob, there's a little bit more of, fuck you, you say fuck me, well, fuck you. You come at me sideways, I'm going to come at you sideways, and because he's at that age where he just doesn't care. It's funny because he kind of talked about it at one time where he was like, I'm sure when I get about 10 years older, I don't care what I write down and everything. I just want to make sure what I say is about people who have kind of walked away from comics. I don't want to talk about anybody that's like really still into comics. And he's like, in 10 years though, I won't care who I talk about. So he's getting to that time period, which is great. But he loves comics too, and he just wants to. I think he obviously wants to see his comics on in-store shelves, but he wants to see stores around too, or clubhouses as he calls them, which is a great thing. He was out here in Scottsdale this last weekend doing a signing, which was cool. He's just he's one of the ambassadors, and like you said, Dennis, Mark is doing a great job too. That YouTube page is fantastic, and he just kind of pulled a big troll on the entire comics world. They all thought he was coming out and he was hinting that he was going to do some DC Marvel book, and it's a new Kickstarter with him and John Romita Jr. doing a new Kickstarter. So go check out the interview. It's really good.
Well, and that was even crazier. Liefeld is shitting all over Romita Jr. in this interview, and that's his new partner in this. And, and they laugh about it. They just laugh about it.
He does say that Liefeld does say that he thinks that Romita Jr.'s best comics is Kick-Ass, which was very, very true. But the whole thing is changing rapidly, and these guys, were there when it was the getting was good, and everything is changing so rapidly. Our last couple weeks across all shows on the platform have been talking about the change and how fast things are changing, and the minds of the buyers, or the people that are the customers, their minds are changing on stuff. We're seeing this craziness happen in the world of the collectibles store with Pokemon and everything that's going on with Pokemon. And we're going to get into that later tonight a little bit, but there's also we're got a couple news and notes about the fallout of Diamond through the Diamond bankruptcy that we're just going to hit on real quick, and that is one. Diamond bankruptcy did not pay Dynamite $500,000 in unpaid invoices, or more, not or more,
right?
More.
That's just 3 invoices.
Yes. So this is,
and it was in that period of limbo too.
Yes.
So I'd love to hear from Nikki personally about this. I have a couple questions in regards to that, but I think one of the things that we discussed was there was an outstanding loan that Diamond had to Dynamite at some point in the past. And I'm wondering if that is playing into this. Who gets paid, what, when, and how.
Yeah.
So that might be something, but also if he's owed this money during the bankruptcy, the money should be paid out.
Right. And I still think I don't speak for Dynamite. I don't speak for Barucci. I speak as a common sense person who comes from corporate world. I still want to know why no inventory counts were done. The second bankruptcy was announced. Every company that had product in that warehouse, those warehouses should have had an independent person and their independent contractor taking counts.
And we said that on this show in January.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jesse, I still want to know if they ever did the monthlies that they were supposed to have done January, February, March, and April that they got called to the mat on.
Right. Well, the bankruptcy is officially done. So they're turning in that paperwork is that those
it almost seems like
so
that all got brushed under the table when the bankruptcy got finished.
Yeah, exactly. I would be very interested in the trustee, who that trustee was. And the trustee, in my mind, this had to be their first big bankruptcy because they let a lot of stuff slide. In a normal bankruptcy, this would never happen. You miss a monthly, you're done.
Yeah.
Not 3 months. No, 1, you're done. You pay people out early. Bonuses, you can't do that. Your trustee is the person who handles all that.
Yeah. Well, not only that, this was also dropped. 7 senior Diamond Comics staffers hired by Alliance Entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, has Alliance Entertainment come out at the tippy top of this mountain and this whole thing? Because I feel like not only are they not getting stuck with all the BS, they're getting an extra 20 mil just for having to deal with this crap, right? And they're getting everything they wanted. They're getting Diamond's the employees that really really mattered over there, and they're gonna get all their inside info on how to distribute and better and to use Diamond's, the things that Diamond worked well with. Like, I feel like they're coming out on top here.
Can you scroll down that list?
Yes.
So, Jesse, Mike Schimmel, I know. And
are you going to say what I think you're going to say? But go ahead.
No, actually, I think Schimmel's a great guy.
No. I was talking about the other ones. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no. I wanted to get your opinion on some of the other names.
Yep. My opinion is I don't have an opinion because I don't know who they are.
That was my point, Jesse.
Yeah.
Mike Schimmel is the only one on there that I've met I think I met Brennan West. But Mike Schimmel, I met probably twice a year.
Right.
And he's a stand-up guy. I can't say enough that he has never done anything wrong that I ever witnessed. But I mean, here's the thing. The people they plucked are the people in the position to hook them up with the people that they knew that caused Diamond to do certain things.
Right.
And I think that they got to cherry pick, but they also got to see who were the people that were fudging the numbers, not cooperating with them, trying to supplant them by making Universal Ad Pop the winning bidder, even when they were 20 million over them. I think it was a good weeding out process, and they got to cherry pick who they wanted.
Yep.
I think it's that, but when you get into this world, it's about the header. It's about the announcement. This body, cool, okay, awesome, great, but it's the header. Can you get a header that pops?
Well, but not only that, but also, Jesse, this is $1 million a year buyout right here. This cost them $1 million a year to pluck senior people at Diamond to help them set up whatever they want to set up.
Right.
All right. I have a question, though. They said they were barely interested in doing comics. Maybe if it made them some money.
I think you're paraphrasing because
let's take it around a lot.
Let's take a look at who these people are, right? Some of them, Matthew Demery, who had been at Diamond Comics for 13 years, moving from comics brand manager to print team assistant manager. So print team assistant, I don't know what that means. Joe Lundry.
The comic divisions.
Okay. Been at Diamond since
the comic division, but go ahead.
And now director of collectible sales at AANT. So he went over to be a director of collectibles, not just,
Right.
So that's good. This guy is now vice president of purchasing at AANT, right? This Lee is now product manager buyer at AANT. Schimmel is now senior vice president of sales at Alliance Entertainment. Trista Peterson is now ANT's collectibles sales director, and Brennan West is now the product manager. So, I mean, how many comics, centric jobs did those people hold?
Yeah, and
does that make sense?
That's going to be the very interesting when it's kind of like if the men's shoe manager comes up to you and starts telling you about all the display issues in lingerie, we know that person is not right for the job. So these people that are taking over these positions, we really need to see what they wrote, their positions, what they actually do. Because that doesn't tell me anything.
Collectibles pick winner. Okay, so what I got out of these profiles was these are the people that pick winners and losers to go into Diamond's preview catalogs. They also have the knowledge of what sold and what didn't sell. And from what I understood about what Alliance was telling us on this show was these are also the people that can give them the comic category products that they want to augment in their sales catalogs. And these might also be the people who help them fulfill that back of the Target, back of the Walmart collectibles area that they have access to.
Yeah, I think you're looking at more of a collectible team that might not even deal with comics, but deals with the genre.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's what I think you're seeing here. So
yeah. Well,
that explains it.
We have the domino starting to drop from the Diamond distribution bankruptcy. There is a new future on the horizon for distribution in comics and collectibles across the board. Things are changing so fast, as we said earlier in the show. We've talked about a couple of companies that have kind of come to the forefront. We talked to Michael Colero at Massive, who's doing Massive Indies.
What's the name of that other guy that's been in the chat several times?
Panelfly, who we're gonna have on the show in the short-term future. There is I was watching Billy Tucci's YouTube channel the other day. I don't think it was a professional show. I can't remember. Maybe they were talking about the new Kickstarter that they have going on with Lady. Maybe I saw Lady Death, a Billy Tucci Lady Death cover. But they were talking about a new thing that they've kind of looked into, and the new company they're working with, new company called Philbo Entertainment, or Philbo Publishing, Philbo Distribution. We'll have to ask Phil when we bring him on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Russert. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. How are you?
Yep.
Good to see you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel so much better today. I'm like, did Philip block me?
Oh,
he blocked me. I was having a complex. I'm emailing everybody. I'm like, can you look to see if you can see his page?
Yeah. It's either, I don't know why I got suspended. I didn't do anything. But I have someone who we all probably know who's a hater on a lot of people that I think has sabotaged. But that's not going to last. So I don't, they can, whatever.
You have people that hate you?
Yeah, a lot.
Then guess what, brother? You are doing the things right.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
I just have to say something background on this. So Jesse spotted this. Literally, I'm scrolling through Facebook and Jesse sends a message to our group chat about this. As I'm hitting that, I see you commenting on something in somebody else's chat. And I'm like, oh, okay, hold on. I got to add you as a friend.
Synchronicity.
And literally, I'm scrolling through and I'm like, oh, shit. Any friend of Billy Tucci's is a friend of mine.
He lives like 5 blocks from me, so if he ever pisses you off, I get toilet paper his house for you.
I'll just call Deb.
Is he still in Long Island?
Yeah, he's in Bayport. His fulfillment center is literally right across the street from my house. So
that's great. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man. And how'd you get into comics? Your love of comics. What's your history in this hobby?
So as a fan, 9 years old, I saw X-Men 115 on a spinner rack, and that was it. I fell in love. Claremont, Cockrum, all that stuff. Then John Byrne, just loved it. And flash forward to 2018, I started running my own conventions in New York very successfully. We've had a lot of big names there. And I've been an art collector prior to that, so I started to get to know a lot of people. So they all came out to the shows. And they were successful, and COVID hit. I almost died from an illness, and I started writing and became an art rep and became a publisher and now distributor, because I wanted to learn all the aspects from everybody. I've even done the retail side to understand stores, understand guys running booths, because I think if I'm going to do well, I need to understand everybody's angle on this, because we all have our overhead, we all have our troubles and tribulations, and Dennis had mentioned on a show recently about grifters, and I couldn't agree more. Grifters have hurt this business, and they continue to pick the meat off the bone, leave nothing on the carcass, and go to the next piece. And I'm tired of it. As someone who loves comics and storytelling, when I don't like the way something's done, I decided to do it myself. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to depend on anybody else. I'm going to bleed, I'm going to sweat, I'm going to claw, I'm going to cry, and I'm going to do what I got to do to get it done. And if it doesn't succeed, at least I know I gave it my best fight and I just wasn't good enough, but you're not telling me I can't get in the ring.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big
Okay,
deal.
so first of all, as a New
Great
York,
attitude.
as an old school New York convention guy and original art dealer. Okay, Richie from Tomorrow's Treasure is literally the biggest treasure in comic book industry, correct?
Okay.
You don't agree?
I don't. I'm not really familiar with them, to be honest with you.
You've had
So I don't remember.
Okay, I'll send you a picture of them, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
All right. Yeah, I can't comment if I don't know for sure.
Okay.
So
he is literally my favorite New York comic dealer.
Nice.
Richie from where?
Tomorrow's Treasures.
I remember Tomorrow's Treasures, but yeah, send it to me. I got to remember. Okay.
All right.
Because I didn't start collecting art until later as I got older because I was broke.
What do you mean collecting art because you're broke? I don't understand how that's possible. I feel like all the art is the stuff that costs way too much money these days. So maybe back then. So,
by the way, I do want to give a shout out. When Jesse had his store in Phoenix, I'd been there 3 times, and he was a big supporter of independent books. And we really appreciate you guys, and we need you. People always argue the stores, the publishers. It's kind of like the artist-writer thing. It's symbiotic. One without the other is just not doing it.
Amen.
We need you. You're the front line. And
all right.
And we also have to provide you something that you can put on those shelves and isn't just going to sit and collect dust. You have to move it. You have to move product. We have to do this together. And I think too many people on either side are just thinking about themselves, and no one's thinking that, dude, this is an organism that needs all its parts. And if we don't start realizing that, we're done.
So talk about how you're going to do that with Philbo, especially on the distribution side, right? That's what we really want to hear about tonight is how you plan on doing that, and how does Philbo distribution work?
Philbo distribution is very similar to Diamond and Lunar, etc. With a few things that are more creator friendly. My percentage is a lot lower for them to succeed, and I don't do COD. To be honest, we're not Marvel and DC, we're not the bread and butter. These aren't going to be thousands of dollars of orders. And I just feel it gives the stores more control over their money, because you had a bad week, your daughter needed braces, and all of a sudden you got this shipment coming in, and you got to write a check and give it to that guy, And then Diamond's saying that they're trying to put on the stores saying that they had put out too much credit for people. I don't know what's true, what's not, but it's just a mess. So we have the 60-day order window, to the FOC. And in that 60 days, you can place your order on a pre-order system anytime you want, and you just have to pay by the FOC. So you're in control of your finances over those 60 days. You're not caught off guard on a bad week. At that point, I will send my invoices out to the publishers for what the orders were once the FOC is locked. They will send me the books within the 30 days, and they get a payout in 48 hours. Once I've confirmed that what I've received is what's ordered, etc. And the book will be in stores within 5 weeks or 6 weeks tops of the final order cutoff. I also try to do other things. Like, we're going to be sending out a newsletter with the digital catalog to consumers, thousands of consumers, saying, if you like these books, you need to go to your local store and tell him you want it, because if you don't, he can't order with confidence. You guys are investing every week. Is this going to sell? Is this not going to sell? I don't. How many people on my pull list are even going to pick up their pull list this week? So it's always hard for you guys. So if I do that and I tell them, to order with tell you to order with confidence, then you feel a little better to buy that 4 or 5 and maybe a couple 2 extra. I also will put a free ad in our newsletter of the store of the month for anybody that sends me a graphic. It doesn't cost me anything to do that, to support you. And as far as Sean, yeah, nothing ships until it's paid.
Excellent.
It's just safe for everybody, right? The
Yeah.
store knows it's locked, they're good. The publisher knows that their money's coming not 8 weeks later. And I mean, if you consider the biggest risk is the publisher saying, well, what if he doesn't pay me? Of course I'm going to pay him. I mean, I would be destroying my business. And by the way, I'm publishing my own books through this. So I'm just as invested in this as anybody that I'm distributing. I'm not just the middleman. I'm relying on this too. So it's got to be done right.
Who has reached out and who is Philbo working with on the publisher creator side?
Zenoscope, he's just a little behind Joe on giving me his stuff. Antarctic Press has about 10 or 15 releases. Billy, of course. Counterpoint Comics, Marat Michaels, he's going to do Pray for the Sinner, and we'll go from there because he doesn't, the Do You Poo, you can't really do, that's special variant covers. Fair Square Graphics, which is Fabrice Sapolsky, who is co-creator of Spider-Man Noir, has his company. And I spoke to someone today. I have another meeting with someone. There's probably several more well-known independent creators and actual smaller publishers that are well-known over the last 20 or 30 years that will be on board. Also, AC, do you remember FemForce?
Yeah, AC Comics,
I love Bill Black.
Bill Black is on board. He's I'm going to be onboarding him this week. So they were very excited. I'm excited. So, I want everybody to understand, I know that it's a new distribution, and this is shaky times. I mean, Universal hasn't even given anybody any peace of mind that they're going to continue with comics and that the books that they're responsible for after May 16th are taken care of. And that's some scary stuff for you guys. And I think it sucks.
I didn't get my books last week.
But Phil, you have to understand, Diamond Upper Management knew that this was the best thing for the comic book industry. So you just have to trust them.
Yeah.
That was the proper response. Good job.
Yeah. Dennis, I've been following for a while. We agree on a lot of things, by the way.
The chat's going to hate you now, Phil.
You can call us cynical, but I just call it as I see it. I agree with a lot of things other people on the panel say as well, but it's just everybody's full of shit. Excuse my language. And I'm tired of it. And I'm not. I'm a comic lover. I'm a publisher. I just want to see thriving. Like, there's the collector side, which is doing well, and I'm grateful for it because it's keeping us afloat, right?
Yeah.
Variant covers and all that stuff is keeping us afloat. So I'm grateful for that. But if we don't get readership back in stores, it's not sustainable. We're not going to, and the problem is too many people in the Western businesses are afraid to take risks, even small ones. And that's why manga's kicking our ass, because you have Chainsaw Man. He has a chainsaw face. Do you think anybody in the Western world was going to approve that book and sign it up? No, they're not.
No.
They're cookie cutter. They play it safe. And if it's not some agenda written crap, it's safe, regurgitated garbage.
Phil, we were talking today, real quick, Dennis. We were talking today about that on the side of. You take a look at like Mark Spears and his Monsters project, who he went to all these different publishers and tried to get it published over
13
there.
13 different publishers.
13
right?
different publishers, and not no love. And he puts it out on Keen Spot and it blows up. He goes and he continues his crowdfunding of cards. He puts out a card set that just finished on a Kickstarter last week, and it funds for like $230,000 for a card set. And it's not even like a full release. It's just a Halloween release where, as Jesse was saying, no publisher is going to even listen to that type of thing. And look how much money it's making.
And on the other side, that's a problem is Kickstarter. I think the demographic has changed. Also, the big publishers are using Kickstarter now, and that's taking a large chunk away from the little guys. When you've got Dynamite Comics with their IPs out there now, and you've got IDW, and you've got, we just had Transformers G.I. Joe from Skybound. Look, I love those properties, but they already have distribution outlets, and now they're going on Kickstarter, making $1 million campaigns, and that's just less for the rest of the people in the pie, And you've seen the decline in the Kickstarters on a lot of comics, So I just don't think that's a viable solution. It's been used as an indie distribution system, and I just sat there and I'm like, this is not sustainable. Something's got to be done.
Well,
Yeah, and if somebody's
part
buying
of it,
10 covers from Dynamite, are they going to buy another independent book that's brand new that they don't know the writer, they don't know the artist,
Right.
they may not even know the publisher? They've got 10
Right.
books already. It's all the same fucking
Right.
book.
Right.
And what's funny is the education part about it is that buyer's first time when he does buy the 10 covers, not realizing that it's all the same story
Same.
inside.
Right.
And then that guy gets pissed and he goes online and he's, oh, this is all screwed up on how comics work. So there needs to be a little bit more education as
Absolutely.
well thrown in.
And I just, I launched this because so I saw Sean had asked. I almost 2 years ago I had put my book and submitted it to Diamond. Now I have Bill Sienkiewicz covers and Will Spertasio. I work with Marvel DC guys, and I'm nobody, but I work with quality people, and the book is quality. And I put it into Diamond, and they gave me the really weirdest answer why they rejected it. They said I had to be 2 years out ahead of schedule. And I'm like, that's bullshit. What are you talking about?
yeah.
So I was like, whatever, I'll move on. So a lot of big name people went to bat for me, which I'm appreciative. And they said, what are you doing? You got to pick up this book. The guy it's good. He knows what he's doing. Peter David loved the book. Howard Mackey, Chuck Dixon, they all liked Tragedy. So, and they ignored them. And then I started to hear the rumblings that you were all hearing. And I'm like, oh man, I wonder what's going on here. So I was like, this is the time. I'm going to start distribution. I'm just going to start it, and I'm going to bring who I can bring along with me that, I can. I don't like gatekeeping, so I'm very minimal on my gatekeeping. And what it is it just has to be professionally produced book. It's not for me to say what will sell and not. I'm not the publisher. I'm not the free market. I believe in the free market. The free market will tell you if you're going to continue as a publisher or not me. So if you obviously have to meet the monthly deadline, you have to be able to pay for your print costs, and you have to have your UPC codes. But I'm not going to judge art and content. I'll let the stores decide. I'll let the free market decide. You just have to have a professional made book. Don't have the logo looking like your 4-year-old did it in crayon, and it's not printed at Kinko's, and we're fine. NSFW, if they want to do NSFW, that's fine. The only thing I ask is black bag nude covers. And the reason is, if you've got a book that starts with A, that is for children, sitting right next to that book on the shelf, I don't want kids seeing that. It's not right, and it's going to turn off consumers, and it's going to backfire on everybody. But black bag the book, and the store can buy what they want for their clientele that wants it, and everybody's happy. And that's the extent of my quote unquote gatekeeping, and that's all I should be. I'm the mailman.
Phil, what about AI art?
Nope, we will not be doing anything AI. I don't publish AI, I don't promote it, and I will not sell it.
Excellent.
What about stolen IP? You gonna put Pokemon on any of your covers?
And that's the funny thing. Homages are one thing, but these parodies are tough. Because the indie scene has relied a lot on parodies, and you're crossing a line. It would probably be case by case with parodies. Like, for example, when you look at Marat Michaels doing Do You Pooh, Pooh is a public domain, and Rob Liefeld's his best friend and said it's fine. So that's where I would say, yeah, no problem. If I don't want to call these people out because
hold on. We have a drop for that.
We have a drop for that. Let's get into it.
Yo, let's do this.
1 second here.
Valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's unfiltered. Phil, you have the stage.
The problem is, it's one thing when you're using IPs in a parody. It's another when you're using it to zing and go after the creators and cause controversy and trouble. That is not honoring the IP. That is not honoring the medium. That is just trying to get a cheap sell because you have no talent? And why are you picking at people that never did a thing to you, especially people that are 10 times more successful than your stupid ass?
Yeah.
And
I like that.
I don't know who I'm talking about, but Sean does.
Yeah.
And I think you guys understand. So
Yeah.
I'm going to make this clear. I wasn't going to get into this, but these individuals came at me for 5 days, and they went personal after my deceased father. And I didn't answer them at all because they're not worth it. But the whole reason, and here's the truth, is because this person knew about my distribution about 1.5 years ago and asked to be a partner, and I said no, because they're so volatile, that would be a stupid move.
Yeah.
I got along with them.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, I got along with them. You know, I knew what they were, but I got along with them. I kept them at arm's length. We were respectful. And when they saw Zenoscope was on board and other people, I think jealousy kicked in. They saw, oh crap, this is actually going to work. And they went on a rampage on me for 5 days that I ignored. After he blocked me, by the way, big and tough, but he hides behind a block. So
similar stories we hear from a lot of people, Phil. Very similar stories.
Those are the grifters and the scourge of this industry that need to be gotten rid of.
Big wheels keep on spinning.
And then to post that you're so successful and you're better than everybody else, and these creators suck. You're stealing IPs from major franchises and then throwing sex on top of it. Who can't sell sex?
Yeah,
I mean, other than an ugly guy like me.
Poking a bear.
It's the lowest hanging fruit sometimes, and it's just it's not.
I like fruit.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's books that are NSFW that are done well. You know, I mean, they're done.
Zenoscope.
Even Sean does books that great art and you know,
Boundary Comics,
stuff like that. But then there are people that it's just. And, you know, again, are you selling outrage or are you selling books? I want to sell stories. I want to sell I want to distribute stories. I want people to look at Wednesdays like Christmas again, like that excitement of walking. I can't wait to get out of school. I can't wait to get out of work. I want to get to my store. I can't wait to get my pull list, pick up those 5 or 10 books, those 20, whatever the hell it is. I want to see that again.
I just watched an interview with Weird Al. And he's talking about there was this period of time where he was just that food parody guy.
Yeah.
And he hated that. And it wasn't until he did Smells Like Teen Spirit that he realized, wait a second. Okay, I'm not just this guy. I can actually come up with something that adds to it.
Right.
And Kurt Cobain loved it.
Right.
But before that, when he would call somebody, he goes, oh, is this just going to be a food parody? And he hated that he was just known as that guy until he figured out he could be better. And I think that's kind of where a lot of the comic industry is. You know, the people who are doing these parodies.
Right.
You know, the TNA parody.
I agree with you. I think a lot of people that we've interviewed, you know, a few people that have said, you know, they played in that you know, sandbox, and they want out of that sandbox. And some of the people that, optics, man.
Right, it's optics. It's a niche, but you also have to know your customer base. So, Phil, what are you looking as you navigate through this and you build this business? Are you looking at price points, keeping pricing at a certain amount? What does that $20 bill get someone if they're ordering this stuff from Philbo?
And that's where it's been really a big struggle. And it was the very first time I got a message like this from a retailer, which I'll bring up here because it is a great point. But so here's the thing. Print costs are so crazy right now, especially when you have low print runs. It's over $3 for a book. The lowest I've gotten is $275 to $280. So it's hard. Now, I understand the profit margin needed on the storefront, but I also understand that publishers are walking away, if they're lucky, with 10 cents at the most on their profit margin. So we're offering a 40% discount off the bat. And if you can order 10 or more, we would do 50%. But I'm also doing things to offset any stores within 50 miles from me, we'll do free delivery for. So you don't pay the shipping.
What's your address?
Yeah.
You're close,
Now, I would love. Now, this retailer I won't mention it, but they came in aggressively upset with me at that tier pricing, and they said that it's not sustainable for the stores. I'm not respecting the stores. That they've been in business for 48 years. This is why Diamond went out, because they weren't blah blah blah.
Lunar's giving us 35%.
Well, this is what I said to him politely, and he said I'm part of the problem in the industry and he can't support me. So this is what I explained to him when I told him.
You're already part of the problem.
I know. Well, I told him what the print costs were, and he told me I was wrong because he published a small newsletter 20 years ago. That's not what print costs are. Now, and I certainly don't mean this disrespectfully to all of you for your profession, but there are a lot of retailers that are very stuck 30 years ago.
100%.
They're not moving past Marvel and DC. They're not shifting with the winds, and then they wonder why they're just barely making it. And he started to go into, I explained to him, I said, you understand something, you have $1.99 margin on your thing. Now, granted, you've got your overhead, but you make $1.99 per book. These artists and publishers are literally walking away with 10 to 20 cents a book. And I have to find a balance between the both, because I care about both. And this is the best I can do right now, right? If you knew what percentage I was taking right now, you go, how the hell can you stay in business? A lot of hard friggin' work. That's how. Because I'm trying to keep it down for everybody. I'm keeping all my costs down. So I explained to this individual that he fought back with me, and I said, here's another thing we don't think of. Did anybody know that, say, something was killing the children was going to be big at first? No. You took a gamble, and then what did you won on that gamble, because for that $3 book, it became a $50, $60 book on market value. That the publisher still got his 10 cents, but you got to market up to $60, which I think is good. Secondary market is wonderful. I want the stores to thrive. And you got to think about it. He was like, well, my rent is this. I said, well, then get a better rent. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. Be a better negotiator. Your expenses are your business, but we have no say over print costs. There is no getting better. You can find a better artist. You can find a lower paying rate artist and whatever, but print costs are non-negotiable.
Now, are you seeing a difference in the print cost between offset and digital, or is everything digital now?
Pretty much everything's gone digital. At this point, someone had asked me, should we go back to newsprint and this and that? I think we should. But at the same time, when you do newsprint, if you go back to a non-digital format and you've got plates, right, well, that's going to get rid of all the variant covers, because we can't afford $50 a plate shift.
Yep.
No.
So you're screwed either way. You're getting nailed either way. And the whole point of why I started this is Diamond walked away with money, and now they get to run away from their responsibility. Does Lunar even give a shit about you? Because they're selling their books. If you go under, they become the monopoly and they get to make more money. So do they care about you?
Well, and Phil, I don't know if you've heard this argument, and it's my biggest argument with Lunar, is they are owned by Discount Comic Book Service. I've been to their warehouse in Fort Wayne. They share the same warehouse. The door has both the logos on the door. Every dollar a retailer is putting into Lunar's pocket is $1 that can be spent over at Discount Comic Book Service to target your customers online and steal your business to their business.
Yep.
I don't trust it, and I will never trust it, and I'll never put $1 in Lunar's pocket.
And, when this guy came to me, it really surprised me how he came at me. And then he just sent me another message because he felt he needed to get more in. And he just sounded like, when he said his store was open 48 years, I'm like, I believe you, because you're still there. You've got to change with the times. And I'm sorry, but I do think independents are more professional now than ever.
Yep.
And they are, think about this, right? What are some of the complaints that readers had that they alienated guys like me that no longer collect comics? We got tired of reboots. Well, now you're at number ones. Yep. There's no rebooting. We got tired of the agenda-driven stories or the corporate-driven stories. Well, there's none of that. This is purely about stories. We got tired of changing of continuity or not understanding continuity because there's 2,000 issues. Well, now you're at number one. You're starting with us on the journey, enjoying the fantasy tale, the story, along with us. And number ones could possibly be investment. What if my book Tragedy blows up? What if it blows up and you're on board? That's a Mark Bagley cover, by the way.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. What if it blows up? And I'm going to tell you, when I was doing consignment and some people were buying outright across the country, I'm not making this up. My book was selling 15 issues between a Thursday and a Tuesday. The problem is, being on Kickstarter, they didn't know when the next one was going to come out, so that was it. I had stores in Texas reordering over and over again. The book does well, but it's hard for me to keep track on consignment and this and that, So, and I'm already 15 issues in. This book has been done for 15 issues, so I'm ready to go with this monthly. And Will Spatasio, Alex Sinclair, David Mack, they're all going to do store signings with me to promote stores. And Mike DeBalfo, which is one of the sweetest guys in the industry. I love Mike.
Yeah, that's one of the best artists in the game too.
Yes, he draws women like nobody's business. Him and Billy.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
So
I think this sounds great so far, man. I think this is very interesting, and I do like you said, you brought up Billy Tucci. You have some people that are willing to take a shot with you too, who are greats in this industry, goats in this industry.
Billy wasn't even the hard one. It's Debbie.
That's always how it is. With
Debbie
them,
is
right?
smart business. She's on the ball.
Yeah.
The better 3/4 of Billy Tucci right there.
Yeah.
You see Billy and Deb, you walk right past Billy, you give her a hug. How's everything going? Oh, hey, Billy, how you doing? He's secondary, but that's in a lot of business. A lot of couples in this business is you gotta really respect both of them, and
right.
Will's is you gotta know his family, his kids. And
Joe is great. She loves me. Well, Joe's funny because Wills will talk for a while and she'll smack him. Get to work.
Yep. Exactly. I'll tell you a quick story about Mike DeBalfo since you brought him up. So I'm in this comic book store and this guy says to me, he comes over and he starts talking to me. And he's like, what do you think about this art on this Zenoscope cover? I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. He goes, would you ever have that guy do an exclusive cover for your store? I'm like, absolutely. He goes, well, you should ask him sometime. I'm like, okay, I will. I'll get all his information. And so he's just staring at me, and I'm like, what? And he's like, well, I'm Mike DeBalfo. I'm like, oh, well, you need to introduce yourself. I'm talking to you for 30 minutes, and I don't even know I'm talking to Mike. So Mike actually did my very first 2 exclusives for Zenoscope, 15 years ago. But yeah, what happens is this community becomes exactly that. You become friends with people. You learn how to navigate, how to do business with them, how to cross promote. And then you also have to figure out, your time about that store. How long do I talk to someone who I know in the end, we're not going to be able to work together? And that's very, very important because you have to have this synergy when you're doing distribution. I did shipping for all Sakai and all Tom from Big Dog Inc. for years. You have to have this synergy with the people, not just the brand.
Agreed. And if you talk to a lot of big names that I know, they're going to tell you that they understand that I'm sincere, I'm passionate, and I understand the business. Because at the end of the day, you've got your fan hat and you got your business hat, and you have to know which one's got to be on your head.
Yeah.
And it neither has to be cutthroat though. I don't have to step on your neck to be successful, and I don't have to be jealous or worried about your success. It has no bearing on me. My effort bears on my success. Exactly. And there's a lot of petty competitive nonsense I have no time for.
Yes.
Amen. And it just keeps pulling the industry back down.
Yeah, it really does. And it makes people on the outside look at us like, what is this?
Right. What are they fighting over? It's comics. What are they fighting over?
Did you read the source material? Do you remember the whole point of heroes and villains? What the hell?
Yeah.
So what is
I just
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Phil.
I just want to say, we have just over 300 signups so far, and I did a soft announcement 3 weeks ago. We literally released a press release yesterday. Bleeding Cool and Comics Beat put it out there, and we're getting a lot more traction than I anticipated, because I know how hard it is for a lot of the comic stores, and I understand their perspective looking at me and the industry and everything. I do understand it, but all I'm going to say is this. It's zero risk to just sign up an account to access the retailer catalog. And if you don't see anything you think will make you money, then just keep watching and maybe something pops up. Or what if a book blows up and you already have the account and you can get in before the first printing is done?
Well,
That's it.
I think a lot of this industry has amnesia when it comes to the last 34 years of Diamond. We had an industry that had multiple distributors for every book.
Right.
And if one place was out of it, your only hope was that one of the other 2 or 3 places that you had access to had it. And all these people are like, oh, well, this place is exclusive with this, and this place is exclusive, and that's the only way we should be doing this. No, you should have multiple people carrying every book.
Well,
right.
That's a question of mine, is that are you going to be holding the back issues?
Yes. So
till it sells out.
There's 2 options for people, because some of the guys are a lot smaller, so their print runs aren't going to be much more than the order, and they want to sell something at a convention. So you can either give me 5% overage or just give me your inventory, because we will do reorders. And eventually, as we get established, I will be doing future solicitation. That's just not something to get into right now. We won't be able to take returns, but we want to help you order with confidence, like I said, with the newsletter and stuff. But yes, we'll do reorders, and I will have inventory, so it saves them on the reshipping. If the printing, first printing is doing well, I'll have it on hand to put out there.
Because the 2 distributors we have left currently, they're, that was the one thing Diamond was fucking amazing at. Like their back issues, like I could order all the way back to 2014. There's a lot of times I would just search for somebody's name, like an artist who started to get hot, and then just reverse the search and look at all the oldest stuff that people don't remember.
Well, at least if you can't find it at Lunar, you can find it on Discount Comic Book Service.
You cannot find anything at Lunar. If it's more than 2 weeks old, you can forget about it.
Guys, this hate for Lunar is driving me crazy. Listen.
Oh, because they ship pretty?
What? They ship awesome. It's not
a big deal. To me, that doesn't matter.
The point is our industry should be able to order from multiple different multiple different platforms to get your product. Even if you don't like that platform, if you can still get your product, at the end of the day, your job is to sell books. No one's asking you, did you get this from Lunar? Because if you got this from Lunar, I want the one from Penguin.
Right.
Let's put Phil on the spot. Phil, tell us about your shipping procedure.
Okay. Well, again, I'm small fry right now, but I'm using Pirate Ship to get the lowest prices based on size and weight. It's funny that you ask, because that's my biggest concern, is to keep shipping down. So I guarantee you it's going to be the cheapest shipping I can possibly do for the stores, because if your shipping is expensive, that cuts into that profit, that little margin that you're making, you got to count that into every book, and that doesn't help you. So as a matter of fact, testing out, I'm actually saving at least 20% on shipping costs with this, if not more, especially on bigger items. But again, in the beginning, we're probably not going to be having high numbers. So we're not looking at a store ordering 50 to 100 books from us, probably. I mean, I hope so for every publisher's sake. But I give you my word right here, right now. I am doing everything I can to keep all costs down, so my success is not on the backs of you or publishers or vice versa. Because we can't sustain if we keep this step on the throat, I'm going to get mine mentality. It doesn't work. And someone who comics saved my life as a child, I don't want to see it go down like that.
Yeah. You can tell you got passion for the hobby, that's for sure. The industry, the medium, that's important.
And I learned over years the business. Some people, they don't understand that it's not a hobby when you're exchanging money anymore. People's livelihoods are depending on what you're doing. It is not a friggin' hobby now. It's a business. You better know what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I talk a lot.
Hey, that's why you're here, brother. That's why you're here.
I see a lot of the people that you're repping in this business, and I think they're all rising tides lift all boats kind of guy. I know Billy backwards and forwards. I mean, he's the vice president of the comic book industry under me, the president.
He says great things about you too, and you said you pay him, but no, I'm just kidding.
You know, you got to give him a little bit of something. No, but that's what this industry is really missing is people who are not just out for their own bag. They want to see everybody rising up. And that's why I love people like Billy. I love people like controversial, but Ethan Van Sciver.
I get along with Ethan.
Yep. And most of all, Brian Polito, who, when you see that Sworn Fest and you see everybody coming together and just the entire Sworn army is just lifted up. And you're like, that's what we need more of.
But I do want to say this too, like Polito is so successful and congrats to him, and Billy's successful. But did you notice where they started?
Yeah.
Distribution.
Yes.
And they brought their following over to Kickstarter.
Yep.
Crowdfunding is a wonderful supplemental platform. It is not the end all be all, and we have to start understanding that. We have to use all the tools in our belt.
Yeah. Yep. They're different customers.
Right.
I have customers when they see a $5.99 book, they're like, "Oh, they raised it $1."
Yeah.
And on Kickstarter, it's a $30 book. They're not going on the Kickstarter to buy a comic book.
Sean Udachko brings up a good question. Is there any requirements to having a retailer account?
Yes, you have to have an EIN and a resale certificate number. If you on the sign up page, it's at the bottom. You have to put them in, and I'm the one who personally goes and verifies that your business is legit. Before, and if you're not, you're not. If you are, you will get an invite, and you'll set up your password, and you'll have your account, and you're ready to go.
That's why I can't sign up until tomorrow, because I don't have it at home. It's at the shop.
But you're right there, Emmett. I see the store right behind you.
It is only 2 blocks away, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
my biggest hurdle is not even publishers or fans being excited. It's getting the comic stores on board. I'm not going to lie. I was grateful that Jesse got on board right away. He looked at it, and it's gonna take a lot. I get it. I'm new. Who the hell is this guy? Not only do we not know what's going on with the major publishers, but who's this little guy? And are these books that I can sell? I get it, but there's one way to find out. Sign up.
Yeah. So like, I'm always looking for a place to get funky books. Zenoscope, I could get that from everybody. But like, if you have this really small stuff like your stuff, I'm definitely going to buy.
There's a lot of that on there. The majority of it is that stuff. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I approached Zenoscope, Joe, and Billy was on board right away. I appreciate him and Debbie. I went to Zenoscope right away, and Joe, because I knew Joe not well, but I knew him, and he was like, "Yeah, there's no risk. I'm all for it. Let's give it a try." I'm friends with Marat. Marat was, "Yeah, let's go." They know me. They trust me. They know that I'm not only am I honest as you can get, but I'm also I understand the business. And then
I'll
when
tell you what,
people
it's
saw
interesting.
that, Antarctic Press came on board, and some other people that I can't mention right now that they're on board. We just haven't signed yet.
The Antarctic Press thing is interesting to me too. That's a big one, a real big one, because when Ben was on here, when this whole diamond thing started, you could see
done.
how worried he was.
He thought it was over.
He thought it was over.
It really seemed
And that's why I reached out to him and Joe, of course, his brother, because I watched Ben over the years try to bring up some little guys and publish them and get them out into distribution, and that's what I want. That's what I want to work with.
Yeah, big
that's
guys
what
when
I
they
care
were
about.
little.
Yeah.
So is Phil Boyle a 7-day-a-week warehouse?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's put it this way. I literally work 21 hours a day. That's why I'm gray and I'm almost bald.
By the way, hold on. Let me correct Jesse. You just said Phil Boyle.
No, he said Philbo.
No, I said Philbo.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Phil Boyle.
No.
And someone wanted to know whether Richard Johnston from Bleeding Cool is like, what's with the bow? I was like, well, I have huge feet that are hairy like a hobbit's, and I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and my wife calls me Philbo. So I took the two most important things to me, my family and comics, and I put them together.
All right.
Awesome.
So if I get a package and it has hair in it, we know it's
It might be from my big toe, yeah. Well, if you do, see if you can clone me, because I sure as hell could use some help.
It just turns into multiplicity, and it's the fourth one always sucks.
Yeah, and the one thing I would say is I think you're at a moment right now where you want to get established. You got to get your patterns down on shipping. When do I order more bubble wrap? Obviously, it's not when you're out. It's where's that turn? And be smart with the guys that you have now, and slowly bring in the rest of the people. Don't try to hit home runs each time. Is my suggestion when it comes to what you're doing. So.
Oh, I appreciate that advice, and I think it's very sound. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is the article over at Bleeding Cool. If you guys are interested at all, I suggest you guys go take a look at it. It's also a very interesting read to check out. And then you guys can kind of see here. These are some. Is this kind of the look? Are you going to be?
No, we're revamping it. This is going to look 10 times better actually. By the end of the week, these graphics are all going to be revamped and better.
So tell us about some of these publishers. Who's Story Arc? Who's Spiro?
Now Spiro is funny because they have an action figure line that you'll see on the site, company. And that ties into their comic, and these are professional figures, 27 points of articulation. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
So they're the comic book supports the toy line and vice versa. Night is a book that I publish for an Argentinian man, Guido Martinez, and it's really great because it's Dungeons and Dragons and superheroes in a sense where it's fantasy in an urban setting in present day, but he's a hero, and it's an interesting concept because his body is actually his personality has been split into two, and he's trying to find his other half. So that you can tell what the analogy is there and stuff. And it's got action, great art, great storytelling, great stuff. The Whiz Kids from DARPA, that's Raymond Gill. That and another book, Adventures of Wonder Duck, family friendly because we want to get kids back in stores.
Amen.
Now the problem is the price point's not very friendly for kids, but we got to get them back. We got to get them wanting to be back in stores, and that's the first hurdle. Tragedy, I have all the ratio variants as you see because I've got Will Spatasio, Bill Sienkiewicz, etc. Ian Churchill did the variant B, which is not a ratio variant, and Ian's a great guy, one of my favorite artists of all time, and he killed that cover.
I love Ian Churchill's art.
Kolchak from Monstrous Books, which everybody knows was the X-Files before the X-Files in the 70s. Tales from Neurosville. People are sleeping on this book. This is an Astro City type anthology around a city of heroes, but he has twists and ironies that you don't see coming in the book. It's cleverly written, and I really enjoy it. And it's just not catching on crowdfunding, but it really deserves attention. It's such a well-written, intelligent book, and it was clever and it was fun. And he's got 9 issues so far.
Oh, awesome.
See, what I love about this is this reminds me of the back of the Diamond catalog from 10 years ago where I would sample half of these easy.
Yeah.
I even offered PDFs in some blast emails for you to read the comics as a retailer for you to see if it's something worth it. And I'm happy to send PDFs out to anybody who wants to check them out.
The sad thing is about retailers, once we've given our email out to everybody we've ever known, I can't read emails anymore. There's I get 70 emails a day.
Gotcha.
My eBay's tied to it. Every time I make an eBay sale, I get an email. I think maybe I'm gonna have to make a second email just for this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Crit is action adventure with kind of fantasy. A Kid in a Comic newspaper is amazing. It's a newspaper of all comic strips from Scott Hanna and major names, Mike Lilly, a bunch of big names, with interactive stuff like coloring, and crosswords. And it's got a lot of big names
I'll buy
in there.
a bunch of that.
It's really well produced. It's that we're gonna publish that. We'll do prose books. Bigfoot Knows Karate is actually a fun kaiju, mash 'em up, fight 'em up. That's on Kickstarter now, doing very well. Caspian Porter is for lack of a better comparison, Flash Gordon. Kind of space guy
Odyssey.
in space, and it's fun. It's sci-fi. The Remnant is actually Christian based, but it's a lot of fun. They're fighting to save the world from the Antichrist. The Adventures of Wonder Duck. If you liked DuckTales and Gizmo Duck and all that stuff, it's right up the alley for that. It's well written. It's a wonderful story to get your kids in. This guy, whoever the hell he is.
Yeah.
Eye for an Eye is a one-shot. We will take one-shots. It's spies and espionage.
Very cool.
And
Yak.
Threads, Refrain, they're ghost stories, horror.
Well, and I think one of the things that you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to get a hold of a lot of these guys that had a successful Kickstarter and they have languished on that IP because they're on issue 3 or 4. And if they get the idea that, hey, we don't have to do this diamond business model. Here's a different alternative business model that we can recycle our IP to the retailer.
Right.
I think you got a chance at that as well.
Oh, and by the way, I made it clear, no one is to compete with you guys. You're not doing Kickstarter for the same book while you're trying to get it in stores. And I asked them all to do a variant retail cover instead of the Kickstarter book so that it's not buying the same thing, because if they bought it on Kickstarter, they're not going to your store to buy it.
Right.
So I don't want them competing with you.
So are these all Wednesday released books, or they're when you receive them for sale books?
So at this point, they're all going to be Wednesday release books. Everything will be Wednesday release. October 15th is when the release is coming on these. Because I'm not going to be that 3,000 book order, all of the catalog will be arriving on the 15th. It also keeps my costs down if I can do one bulk shipment so that I'm not putting that cost on the back of the publishers. And even if I do, say, separate the weeks, I'm still going to try to send you the whole batch so that you confidently have your books a week ahead of time. Okay. That's one thing Lunar does well, is they give you a week ahead of time. I want the books to be there at least a week before the start date, so you're confident your shipment is there and there's no issues. And the other thing is, I'm the liaison. You're not speaking to another person. You're going to have my direct number. You could call me at 11:30 at night and say, Phil, I found a damage. All right, it's getting shipped out first thing tomorrow morning and you'll have it. And I'm telling you now, I don't want to be diamond. I don't want to be that large. But if I did become successful and 10 years from now, I'm making hand over fist money, I'm still going to want to do that.
My question is when you ship this to retailers, so let's just say Emmett orders 100 books and you ship out 100 books and that order is like $25 by pirate ship. How are you going to invoice Emmett for that $25 pirate ship order? And is he going to see your actual invoice for what you paid through pirate ship as a realized price?
Well, because it's a cart system prepaying on the order, the shipment is going to calculate for you right there. Right. So your total price is put in and you'll have it right there for your records under your account.
Yep.
You're not just going to say shipping was a mysterious number and
no, it'll auto populate when you put in your numbers. And if you thought something was amiss or you had a problem, just call me. I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my problem with a lot of them now. There's nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
You're not going to wait 5 years and then come out and say, hey, we found a way to save you 25% off your shipping.
Right.
We're just not going to overcharge you. You know, that's kind of.
Will you be doing any fulfillment?
You mean distribution fulfillment? I'm responsible for all of it. Yeah, they're gonna send me their books, and out of my facility, I will be shipping all the shipments.
Right. What I'm saying is, are you taking anybody's digital comics and printing them?
Oh, I am not doing printing. No, that's for the publishers to do. That just convolutes things, and then I got to get my percentage, and then it just get money. And I don't have time for that.
Okay.
I'm strictly distribution. The only thing I'm printing is anybody that's under my imprint at Philbo Publishing.
Excellent. Well, listen, man, I think we're gonna have you get a spot to jump on whenever we can. I think this is gonna be something we're gonna keep our eye on big time. It sounds like something that we all want to see work. There's, like Jesse said, we need more of this in comics. We need to get more books into shops and help shops figure this type of stuff out. So we're definitely.
I have one more question.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Are you going to be at San Diego this year?
Yes, I have a panel.
He's on a
And
panel.
are
Yeah.
you coming to the Saturday night dinner with Billy?
Unfortunately, I have to fly right back home because I'm taking my daughters to a really crappy Korean pop concert. Oh, Sean, just so you know, the big footnote karate, it's not the first issue. It's continuing the series, so he can
Series,
start the book. So it's a different issue number. Issue 1 is going to launch with me. His Kickstarter is, I think, for issue 3.
Yeah, it's Kickstarter issue 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, this is all great information. And here's the other thing, you guys. If you guys are catching this on the replay, drop a question below, and we'll figure out a way. You know, Phil, we could send Phil the questions.
I'll answer any question, no matter how tough it is. I don't give a shit. Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's fucking go.
When you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to worry about.
That's right. If you we're gonna put the because I'm gonna have to come back and get the website because I didn't see it come up in chat.
I'll
so
put
that I
it
can go
in the description too,
Yeah,
you
and-
guys. I'll put all the links in
And
the
you
description.
can give them my personal email, Brian, if you'd like, and you could. I'm happy to send.
Well, you also we have your IG also on the account. So
Where's my
yep. If you make sure you guys go follow Philbo Publishing. Do you follow? Does that
Right
ID is that IG up to date? Do you still use that IG?
I do, but not as frequently because the algorithm just really killed me. Facebook is where I have over 7,000 people, and unfortunately, right now, like I said, that's suspended.
Well, we'll put that
real
in
quick,
the.
Sean. That's a great question. That's a great. I'm gonna have to get the AI screening tool. You're right. I didn't even think about that, but I will. Thank you for bringing that up.
That is a great question, Sean, and something that we're going to be talking quite a bit about more in the future, because it needs to be talked about, and we need to see more retailers and publishers and creators or whatever it takes to use these things. So if you don't want to, put AI art in your store or, publish it, you don't get caught in the shit. So. Phil, great time having you on here tonight, man. And like I said, we got a seat for you anytime you want to jump on the show. We're gonna be bugging the hell out of you many more times in the future.
Please do.
And this sounds really great. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you in San Diego along with these guys. And
Absolutely would love to. Yeah.
I can't wait to see what Philbo distribution and publishing and Philbo and what you do in general in the future, man.
By the way, that you're right. I got to add that to the contract. No AI. I don't have that. Thank you. See, I love this. People, I don't have every answer, but I will listen to, when you give them. So, and just thank you so much, Jesse, for your faith in me and bringing this up and getting me on. And thank you for Brian for having me, and Dennis and everybody. And I love your show. I love what you guys do, because honestly, a lot of people are ignorant to this stuff, and you're really educating a lot of people, and you're really bringing out things, and it's a great show. And I was really thrilled when Jesse messaged me today. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate
awesome,
it.
man. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you, Phil. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Take care, man.
Have a good night.
Man, look at that. That was
here's the
very
thing, man.
interesting. That sounded
as one
great.
door closes in this industry, it's so good to see. And I said this all through the whole diamond, collapse. This is going to open up spaces for a lot of people to come in and take up that slack and do it differently.
Yeah.
Well, I think you have to have a couple things. You have to have excitement. You have to be able to know how to stand up for your brand. And then you have to bring in the right people at the beginning of your business, the allies that I always talk about. You should have 5 allies that you should be able to go to every time you do something big. My first 3 exclusives for the store: Brian Polito, Michaels, Tom Hutchinson. That's going to happen all the time. And it's synergy. It just happens. So I think when you see someone, when I say young, not his age, but young, doing this and understanding all the pitfalls that Tushy has gone through, all the pitfalls that Polito has gone through, but look where they are today. I think that's very important. So
And 30 years later, and they're still doing the same thing and still being profitable at it.
And not just profitable, but they're relevant. And I think that's very, very important too. So
Amen. Well, that was excellent. That was a nice little interview there. All right. Well, we got more to talk about tonight. Some very interesting talk about shrinkage, ladies and gentlemen. Shrinkage part two on the industry of
It's cold.
comics.
It's
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah. It's like that's the way it is. Every guy that jumps out of a pool. So we've talked about this before. We've talked about theft and how to deal with shrinkage, not just theft, but inventory, loss and throughout your store and your retailer shops. Not too long ago, we had a story where somebody had walked into one of Dennis's shops and figured out a way to finagle a super expensive Pokemon card, like a Charizard, right? Was it a Charizard? I think out of a cabinet at his store, and we talked about that whole thing. Well, it seems like we've had part two of shrinkage here on Industry of Comics Show with a new story about the distraction angle and
Man, I
retail
saw that video.
theft.
It's crazy.
So, Brian, first I just sent you a video to our group that I want you to see. So already my antenna were up because a week ago, a week and a half ago, one of the local stores here in the Detroit area that sells just gaming products, they do tournaments and sells just gaming products, got hit at 5 a.m. With a smash and grab. And then literally a day after that, another store 30 miles away from them got hit at 5 a.m. The police are pretending that it's not the same crew. I don't know, but it seems kind of fishy to me. So, of course, I'm just thinking, oh, I got to make sure, I'm protected from a smash and grab.
What's shitty is that those are grown men.
Yes.
Those aren't some kids that are trying to that need some extra money.
This guy goes right over the counter, starts scooping up sealed product and rare cards.
We talked about that the other day, Emmett, on Drama Alert for Saturday night. We talked about all this craziness going on in the world of Pokemon right now with all these grown men, adults fighting in line, all this fuckery that's going on with these adults, playing these little games of their wife shows up with their 3 kids after they've been standing in line all day, weird stuff, security guards jumping in and getting all the product out of the Pokemon machines before the store opens up. Like all this just really weird shit over, and I get it, people can say the same thing, oh, comics are kids' books, over Pokemon, which is a kid's game. And the amount of money that is being made on the secondary market for these things is what's causing this.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think we were talking last week. I'm up 33% in the month of May, mostly from Pokemon in the comic book store.
Yeah, my Pokemon is just insane.
We sold a $350 Dark Charizard over the weekend. It's huge money.
Other stores are buying from me. We have I'm up where I'm at. I'm kind of the poor section, farther away from the big population. The guy who owns the store in the mall comes and buys $2,000 worth of stuff from me, and I don't know how he's. I'm not giving him a discount.
It's a mall. I'm telling you,
he's buying it at fair market price, and then what the hell is he selling it at? Even if he's what is he getting 30% for? Can he actually mark that up 50% above market value?
Yeah, you can.
Shit.
It's every time I restock a product, my Pokemon girl, she'll go, that's a ridiculous price. I'm like, look, we're out of it. If we don't have it, then we can't sell it. So I'll buy it at market price and just put 20% on it. I made a 20% profit. And then sure enough, she's like, I hate you. And I'm like, what? We just sold that for 20% over market price. And I'm just like, then I got to buy one at market price again.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it other than the mall is a magical nostalgia thing that people just want to feel by buying something. Whether it's a $2 3 for $5 comic book, a Hot Wheels car for $2 or 3 for $5, a $1 Happy Meal toy out of our dollar bins. It's something about being in that mall that resonates that. And that's why, here's the thing. But being in a mall attracts a lot of attention because you get a lot of people in your store and you can't always keep track of all of them.
Right.
And that leads us to...
Yeah.
Yeah,
and keep in mind, a lot of this is pre-planned 2 weeks, 3 weeks out. They're seeing what time do you close your store? How many people walk out that door to close that store? Who's the key holder?
Yep.
How early do you come in?
Yep.
Right. There's so much pre-planning that you really have to be on your game.
Well,
that's the challenge.
So I got lucky in my mall locations. So I have a giant plate glass window at the comic book store, but I have a metal cage that comes down. So you'd have to smash this giant plate glass window to have access to the store. I have a lot of barriers put up in front of those plate glass windows. My other location, where Dystopia, where we have $100 video games and all of this, it's a former jewelry store, Kay's Jewelers, and it is a steel death trap. You are not getting into that. If you ran a car through the mall like the Blues Brothers and smashed that metal, I'm still thinking the metal gate is going to beat you.
Possibly, yeah. That's a nice spot.
Well, let's talk about this whole thing about one of these tactics that, to be honest, it feels like this tactic is used by the new thieves that are coming up, and you got a lot of these kids who were into Pokemon that are now 18 to 25 years old that maybe are taking a little bit more risk and, let's go figure out a way to steal these cards, and
Polka dads, late 20 polka dads.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got
it. The kids that I caught last week were all recent high school graduates from the Catholic school in our town.
Oh, that's the worst place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that, Dennis, because you had said to me something interesting. You said, that something had just popped up on your Facebook account or something talking about, this new not this new tactic, but this tactic of, distraction and how
so
people
I'm
are
going to
playing
send you
off in
this one. Hold on.
Well, a lot of the dealers, you've been to card shows. They usually have the big glass cases, right?
Yeah.
And that glass case don't come open until you've decided you're buying it.
So Brian, I sent you that video. So it was I did the video for the rules to work at my store on YouTube. And I had my employees asking questions about it because, it's my orientation pack. And I explained in that video, hey, there's a 2-man distraction team. That's why we put the register key when you go out to the case. The case key is the register key. So you can't
I don't see anything,
behind the counter
Dennis.
and open the register. And literally in between talking to my employees about that video and this incident, this video popped up on my Instagram. Oh, I sent it through your Instagram, Brian. Sorry.
Okay, Instagram. Sorry. Okay, hold on one second here.
Sorry about that.
No, you're okay.
And I sent it to my kids, and I'm like, see, your dad's not crazy for talking about this. Disney was talking about this to their employees in 1999. And this video just popped up on my feed of it's Disney people who are sharing these old Disney VHSs from the stores.
Hi. I see you're looking at our character ties. Who's your favorite character?
Mickey, do you have any in the back?
Sometimes groups will work together to distract you. Remember, acknowledge every guest. Never let a guest go unnoticed.
I'll be with you in a moment to assist you with those polo shirts as soon as I'm finished helping your friend.
Listen, I'm really in a hurry. Can you check in the back for that?
No problem. I'll have John check while I go assist your friends. Now, what size were you looking for in those shirts?
Never mind. Come on, let's go.
Miguel was able to assist all 3 guests and knew enough to ask for help when he needed it. He made it known to the guests that he knew they were together. Remember, it's important that we let potential shoplifters know that their presence in our store has not gone unnoticed.
Yeah, because there's a damn video camera up there watching everything you do, kiddos.
Yep. And you might get away with it once, and we might not spot it, but eventually it's going to raise enough attention that the employee's going to be like, hey, wait a second. So Wednesday night, last week, one of my employees called me frantically while I was having dinner with my son and said, Dennis, I think somebody did that distraction thing to me. Can I pull the camera footage up? And I'm like, yeah, here's how you do it, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, yeah, somebody just snuck into the back room. I don't know what they got, but they were only back there for about 30 seconds. So if you want to play the Wednesday video, which is the second video, Brian.
Is this it?
I sped it up. This is about 3 minutes long, but this is the three of these guys. They come in, and this is
immediately goes back
there. So they go right to the
Watch what he
Pokemon
does.
cases. This guy right here, he goes back to this corner. Now, that corner is our back area where we sort stuff. He's immediately going to go back there. Now, she comes over to put something in her purse before helping them. He sees her come over to that area, and he spooks. He's like, yeah, okay, I can't do it right now because she's kind of active back there. They go over, talks to his friends. If you want to fast forward just a little bit, or 2 times it. I don't know how to do that. Okay, so they go around. Now he's going to try it again. See, look, he goes right over there, but he realizes she's right there.
Yeah, he tried to walk in
again. Which is also one of our rules: is a person is on reg at all times. And so he goes over here. Those two start talking to her. He goes outside, and he comes back in. He goes over and tells them something. He comes over to kind of like distract, and then they go right up to her. He's watching. He sees it. They're distracting her, and he comes right back in and goes in for the, yep. Now, they're distracting her.
He's in the back.
So he's in the back of our room. That's where we keep all of our inventory, our restock, everything.
He's back there fucking around and you don't know what he's doing, huh?
Right, yeah. But I can show you that when he comes back out and he turns around, you can see his hoodie is now full.
Yeah.
And his pant pocket he's got his hand in his pant pocket.
He's got something in his back, down his back shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is that what it was?
And something down the front too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So either way, he got in the back room. He got something. We don't know what it is. But then she said, oh, he said he came in on Sunday and bought some Pokemon cards. And I was like, Sunday? Oh, I got to pull up the Sunday footage. And sure enough, I pulled the footage up, and sure enough, he's there. And I'm like, well, did he sneak in then too?
He's got a friend in a wheelchair.
But here's the thing. Hold on a sec. I'll tell you at the end of this.
Okay.
So
there he is.
That's the same kid. Now he's hanging out with this other kid. So that's Nick and that's Carter. The ones that kind of go over to the other side.
Yeah.
While the employee is distracted over here in the case. And he gets up from the wheelchair, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now, yep. And he's kind of looking around.
Good shot of his face.
Yeah, yeah. And then Carter's thinking about going back, but you know what? He sends Nick in instead. Go for it, bro. Because they've got her distracted at the case. See, if you see right there, you kind of see her head right there.
Yep.
She's distracted in the case. They're keeping her distracted and blocked off with the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Carter's kind of keeping watch here because he knows his boy is in the back. He's looking out. He's like, oh, man, come on. Come on, do what you're supposed to do, Nick.
Yeah, they've got her trapped, so.
Yep, they've got her trapped there. So she has to go all the way around. Now, he's thinking about going back there, but he just kind of stays there. But he definitely knows his buddy's back there, and I'm pretty sure they do too.
Now he's telling them.
Yep. And now she goes back around the counter. So he's starting to get a little worried, like, hey, what's taking Nick so long? But they move right up. Now there's another employee or another customer that she has to help. Those guys were not involved. But then Nick comes out, and if you see, same situation. He's got some stuff in his pocket.
Yeah. And his back shirt.
Okay, so they spend a little bit more time here, and then they all leave together.
Distraction.
But here's the thing. Can you go back to that last image there?
Yeah.
Here's the problem. These little shits didn't realize. I'm the one, they were all waiting at the security desk to rent that wheelchair. So I walked over to security once I saw these are the guys. I called security to help them get the wheelchair. They asked for an ID and a phone number to check out the wheelchair. So we had that little shit's name, address, and phone number. Security calls him up, gets him to come in because he and his buddies work out at the Planet Fitness in our mall. He gave up his buddy's name and phone number like instantly because he did not want to get banned from the Planet Fitness.
So this is him. You brought in the kid.
Yep. So we bring in Nick. Nick did not confess to taking anything. He could not tell us why he went into the back room. His buddy, Keen, who was the guy in the wheelchair, who rented the wheelchair, and we got his name, he said, oh, yeah, Nick does this all the time. Anywhere we go, Nick is sneaking into the back rooms. And I'm like, and you know this? This is the kind of person you want to hang out with? What's he going into these back rooms for? He couldn't give us an answer. Well, there's only two reasons why I could think of, for somebody to go in the back room, either stealing or something way more nefarious involving all the female employees that I hire.
Yeah.
I don't this guy. I looked this kid dead in the eye.
See, I would have went to the police and said, "Hey, we've done inventory and we're missing $10,000 worth of product."
Yeah. Well, the thing is I sleep just as fine knowing that kid will never be in my store again or the mall again because of catching him.
Well, here's the funny thing, and Remo even said it. He put up the thing snitch. I told Dennis, I go, you know what, man? You have his friends' numbers. Call his friends and tell his friends, hey, if you don't tell me what he took, I'm getting you guys banned from the mall too.
Yep.
And they'll tell on them because they're punk kids that are they're going to tell them. They're not solid.
The lookout is obviously involved. You could maybe say the guy in the wheelchair is not involved, other than they used him to block her from getting out.
No, I know. We're still discussing it with the mall on what level we could go with this. First of all, they're all 17.
They're getting ready to graduate.
They all graduated just that week.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could get, and apparently a couple of them the families are connected because they got enough money to go to the private school.
What college are they going to go to, though? Because you could inform the college.
Oh, trust me, there's going to be a video about this.
Well,
and
keep in mind,
their names.
Right. So the way that we would approach this coming from corporate America is if you get someone on camera once stealing, this is what the judge is going to say. Well, it's your first time. We're then let you off. Don't do it again. You got this guy twice.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Once someone gets caught on camera twice, legalities completely change in court. The company I came from, we wanted to catch that person 3 times. So we really treated them with kindness the first 2 times to get them on the 3rd time. And when that judge said, is this your first time? Oh, yes, it is. Well, here you go. Here's 2 more tapes. People that do this are doing this at other stores as well.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I guess the question to you that I would ask you is, number 1, the question is already in the thing, are you putting cameras in the back? But number 2, why is there easy access to the back corner?
That back corner is not easy access, Jesse. I have to turn sideways and still get poked in the back by a couple random slat wall hooks just to
Right.
go into that back. You have to pull that case out, or that little rolly rack. You have to turn that sideways to get full access to that back. So he's going sideways to get in there. I'll tell you exactly how we solved it. I put up in both stores, I put up full motion sensors with alarms that can't be turned off by the employees, that anytime an employee now goes into that back room, there's a chirp at the counter loud enough for you to hear it outside the store in case they're in the front display cases. Those were installed yesterday, and today was the first full day of use, and it worked perfectly. I could hear employees going into the back room from the other store, which is good because that way it alerts. Every time that alert goes off, every employee should be aware somebody is in a space where they're either supposed to be, and you better know who it is, or they're not supposed to be, and to be, on guard.
Yep. Smart.
I'm a little more thuggish. We had a kid who was not only stealing magic cards from us, but from players. And we saved the tape. We brought him in, and we took his entire magic collection. We said, it's the police or your collection. So we were able to give back all the players, all the cards he stole from them. And we did quite well.
Good.
And that's happened a couple of times. Yeah, I'm rolling this.
That's Vegas rules right there.
Yeah, man. I've got one guy in my sights right now. He's been, I had a 71 Topps baseball set. He brought it back. He found it in the store. We all looked for it, but he was the one that found it. And he also found a large number of other cards we had been missing when he came to help us look in somewhere where we had already looked. So
let me guess that's a good friend of the store too that did that.
Oh, best friend of the store.
I actually
help
had
with collections.
Yeah.
Always pulling books out of the back bin. Oh, this just popped.
Yep.
Yeah. So I had one of my best friends. He stole well, let me put it this way. I just bought a collection of Hero Clicks 20 years ago. And yeah, that's how long ago it was. And, Sean, watch out. It's an old-timey story. And there was 125 Kingdom Come Flash. If you guys remember, that was one of the chases.
Yep.
It was one of the rarest figs, and it was one of the coolest figs.
Yep,
and I
it's
bought
clear.
the collection just for this.
Yeah.
My buddy also played HeroClix and knew how much that was. I had it on a back table, and as he came into the store and I was sitting at my desk, that was within probably 5 feet of where I said, "Oh, come on back. How you doing, man?" "Oh, yeah, talking bullshit. I got called away from my desk by one of the employees. I come back, and my buddy is out shopping the store. And this is exactly what you said. I'm like, I come back, I go, "Oh, dude, guess what I just found?" And I look at that table, and it's missing. And I'm like, shit, there's only one person in here between me buying that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Hey, guys, what happened to that Kingdom Come Flash?" And I gave him a chance. And it was more of a prove me wrong situation. And he came back to help us look for it. And guess who found it on the floor under the table?
Always.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah. Well,
bravo.
The crazy part about loss, shrinkage, all this stuff is if you go to a corporate company and you take out how much was stolen by employees or close acquaintance, the percentage of people that actually steal is much smaller than that, which is amazing to think.
Yeah.
That in corporate, how much stuff is stolen by employees? It's crazy to think, but that's the way you are brought up and your coach, and it's always the guy you trust. I shouldn't say always. A good portion of the time is someone that is most trusted.
It's the only person that's going to get me. They have to build trust up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sadly, what would you guys say? Your experience, 25% of those people that you put in that trust zone exploit that trust at some point?
Oh, at least
Yeah.
25. Yeah, probably better than that, but I can live with
And
25.
it's sad, but it's
It is.
sad.
It
Yeah.
is.
There's a
And
show.
the problem is when you get to that point, it's no longer the product they're stealing. They want to know what they can get away with.
Okay, I gotta phrase this in a certain way. So there was a certain distributor, and I had a sales rep from that distributor, and then one of my competitors was like, "Oh, hey, do you use this distributor?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I have so and so as my rep." He goes, "Yeah. They tried to give me him, but I refused." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Well, he used to work for me back in the day. And a lot of magic cards turned up missing when he was working for me." And I'm like, "And he's distributing your magic cards now?" He goes, "Yeah, irony, huh?"
Yeah, it's crazy. So this is the world we live in. You know, I'm still trying to look for my San Diego Con exclusives from 7 years ago that were stolen from the booth. All 500 copies.
Issue 1 of 12 to complete the set.
Issue 1. Yeah, exactly. Megazord exclusive. One day those will pop out. But you have to try not to, and I know this is hard to say, not let your guard down. You have to have a process that you stick with. And if you stick with that, it's kind of like last week when we had the conversations about not having contracts. And I'm thinking, but you need to have contracts. Yeah. That what says that? Why wouldn't you? You know, I can understand in Sean's case where he owns the company, owns Comics Elite. That's a different story. Yeah. But an individual not having contracts, that
it's kind of funny.
Go ahead.
No. It's kind of funny in Scarface. And the moral of the story was Scarface was paranoid when he put all those cameras in.
Yeah.
But all those cameras told him that the Colombians were coming to kill him.
Yeah.
And I took the wrong takeaway from that, which was, yeah, I need more cameras like Scarface.
Yeah, you should need a camera in your back room too.
Yeah,
you definitely need
and that's the thing is I was like, okay, the back room leads to the bathroom. I don't want to, kind of invade that privacy level, but I'm going to have to put cameras in that back room. We'll start with the alarms, and then we have to move to, kind of that private space being no longer private.
One of the biggest stories of a few years ago on the Drama Alert section on Saturdays was this card shop that's been around forever. They caught a guy who was considered like their best friend and non-employee that would always come and help him go through stuff. He was the most trusted person at the entire shop. They trusted him for 10 years, 15 years. And it was so crazy to watch because they caught him because they finally put a camera in their back room, and that's how they caught him. And to watch this guy, they sat him down in that same room. They said, and to watch this guy try and talk his way out of it was so gross. And like he was telling him, like, dude, for years.
This is the first time. And then you look at the video and you're like, yeah, that was
And they
too
pressed
smooth
charges on him. They brought
time.
cops. They had him arrested and everything. And you could even tell they felt bad for it. But he's like, that I'm definitely gonna press charges. This is worse. This is somebody who continues to come in and
so that's how they get caught.
Yeah.
That's the problem. People who like to steal can't stop.
Yep, they can't stop.
You want to get the big hit.
And here's the thing, guys. So they snuck in on Sunday when they distracted and they had the wheelchair and the kid snuck back there, took whatever he took. The surveillance monitor for the cameras is right above where we keep the Pokemon. He knew he was on camera. He still came back on Wednesday to try to get back there and get some more.
Yeah.
He couldn't stop himself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And again, they're doing that at the 7-Eleven. They're doing that at the Circle K.
Everywhere.
It just becomes a natural thing. Listen, over the decades of how many people we have caught but you meet them in the future, and the first thing they say to you is, I'm glad that happened because it changed my life. I got into this business, believe it or not, because of a stolen comic book in 1982.
Yeah.
Things happen for a reason. We always should be positive. We should be looking for ways to better our business. We should have good faith in everybody that we talk to. And when it does go sour, we have to learn from it, and then we have to keep on moving on. The old saying is, this is the old saying, you can worry about the 1% stealing from you or the 99% that are buying from you. Yeah, and that's what
I love that one.
make those decisions on.
Well, and that's why, here's the thing. I learned a valuable lesson from that Sunday to Wednesday and catching them. That I had a blind spot, that while I was looking for smash and grabs and I was looking to keep myself protected from somebody coming in with a hammer and smashing my glass, unlike the other kid that maneuvered the lock off, I had a blind spot. Whatever they stole was worth every penny of it to know that I had a blind spot of you can walk back into that back room without setting off an alarm. I had to change that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the roles we have in the store and in the new store, we're doing the same thing, is we won't help you if you're on your phone. If you walk up to the counter and you're on the phone, we have a big sign that says we cannot help you until you're off your phone.
Why is that?
We don't want to be distracted in any way when we are servicing you, and especially when you get to those expensive books.
Yeah.
You can't have these distractions, these misunderstandings, right? Hey, I'm going to go over here for a second. I got this one. Fine, you're leaving that stuff here. We'll ring you up when you're off your phone. And it's just, and then it's a courtesy thing, right? To the person behind them, or when you're trying to help someone, you're trying to get their membership number, or you're trying to get their information, or you're shipping something. They're buying a record. Hey, dude, I need you off your phone so you can inspect this record. Okay, cool. Awesome. So there's a lot of ways, the old rules, treat them with kindness and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I think it's very important that everybody understands how business works and how you're going to handle this when it happens, and not beat yourself up.
But 26 years ago, Disney understood that. They understood. Like, you could look at that guy, I forget his name, Spanish name. She
Miguel.
says it at the end of the thing.
Miguel.
What was his name?
Miguel.
She's like, Miguel said he helped 3 customers and identified that they were together. Now, a lot of people could look at Miguel and say Miguel was not being polite to that first customer by passing him off to somebody else and going over to those other 2. You could easily, in today's day and age, go, oh, Miguel was being rude. I had a customer, I walked into a store and he thought I was with these other 2 people, and he immediately left me and went over to help these other 2 people. But Disney understood. Teach these people of how a 2-man distraction team works, or a 1-man distraction team works.
Yeah.
And you have to train them against that. And it still holds true today, 26 years later.
Yeah. Just teaching people how to make sure they don't get quick change. I mean, when you go through this process, quick changing is crazy.
I had one girl get fooled by a quick change. And we had it all on video, and I was just like, look, see, here, see what he did? She still didn't understand how he did it to her. After we showed her the video of him doing it to her. We're like,
what's a quick change?
Drawer is quick change is where, let's just say you have $20 worth of product sitting on the table, and you're ringing it up, and you give the person a $100 bill for that $20, and they start to hand you the 80. And as they're handing you the 80, you take the quick change artist takes the 80, gives, oh, you know what? I did have a 20. Here's the 20.
And doesn't give back the 100.
So now no, sometimes if you just leave the 100 on the table, blah, 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 and that's what they're hoping for. And it still goes on today. I watch videos of people still doing it.
There's a lower end one where somebody comes in and buys something $10 worth of stuff and they pay with a 10. the next person, or I'm sorry, they pay with a 20. The next person comes in and does it with a 10, and they said, "Oh, I gave you a 20." It had my name written on the back, or a girl's phone number, or anything, and they look in and there's the 20 with the number on it.
Oh, I did take that, and that's because you don't teach the employee to, when they take that 20, to leave that 20 drawer up until you close that full drawer, so you know who handed you what they handed you in that transaction.
Right.
So
Or
that's another thing
all
to
money
train.
goes on the bottom.
Right, right.
Yeah, quick change artists can take a $20 bill and turn that into 60 to 80.
Yeah, and that's that's a $200 theft right there. Or it's $180. Because they gave you the 100, they get to keep the 100, then you give them the 80, so now they have 180, and the $20 for the stuff they gave you a 20 for. So actually, it's an $80 theft.
Yeah, it's crazy. So trying to learn all these steps, back in the day when we had to make sure all the film, because you used to use the credit swiper, we had to make sure that we had all that film afterwards, because it had people's credit card numbers on
it.
Yeah,
and for your garbage.
And back in those days, you could take that number and use it for anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So evolution, learning, knowing you got cameras, kindness, watching for quick change, watching separation of people in the store. That guy, I see you're looking at the Mickey Mouse or the scarves. Who's your favorite person? Oh, Mickey Mouse.
Oh, and that's actually a big thing. That is also a psychological cue, which is a person who's not interested will not have a Disney character in mind to tell Miguel when he asks that too, because that guy hesitates when he says Mickey Mouse because he was stunned by Miguel's question.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And that was probably also a key to Miguel, to like, okay, this guy is definitely trying to distract me by going to the back room. I'm going to go pass him off to somebody to go to the back room, and I'm going to go deal with his two friends before they steal anything.
Right, exactly. And it's one of those things where people continually evolve. So, oh my gosh, they're not doing, okay, so now I got to do this. So you just got to educate yourself. You got to educate your team members. You got to let your team members know, hey, this is an education piece. When something does get stolen, they'll show you how to try to make sure it doesn't happen again. And that's how you got to do it. So
the other thing that we never got a chance to follow up on with these guys, and it was just another one of those, okay, these guys are clown shoes. The guy who bought the Pokemon cards on Sunday used Tap to Pay on my POS system. So luckily I had the wheelchair thing to go after him for. But I also was going to go after the Tap to Pay to find out his info if I didn't have the wheelchair. Don't use cash if you're going to leave a paper trail, guys.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, who's that guy that wrote a check in New York? The Star.
Oh, you're talking about Jerry Springer?
No, he wrote a check to get kidnapped or something like that. But he wrote the check.
Oh yeah. I forget the guy's name.
Yeah, exactly. But he actually wrote a check.
He paid the two guys that were going to kidnap him.
Jesse Smollett.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So Kilted Corgi actually has a good comment over here. And I've actually been theorizing this for a while, and I think it's true. If you notice that the big guys, the huge guys, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Walmart, all these people, they've all moved to an app-based system where we'll give you a discount if you use the app and use your credit card to pay for it with the app.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that this is kind of the same thing we're talking about here. The employees that they're hiring can't be trusted to count the money properly.
Right.
And when you look
the
at
data mining.
Well, that too, but yeah. But if they put it on an app and make the credit card pay for the app, then that's less money that they trust the employees to touch, and possibly less that they could screw up, because when you go, shrinkage based on incompetence is $100. You multiply that times 1,500, 2,000 stores.
Sure.
That becomes X amount a day.
There's a study that if in the big chains that if a cash register lost a penny a day, it would cost some of these Walmart $500,000 a year
to find it.
one penny.
Yeah.
One penny shortage per drawer would be $500,000 a year. So yeah, I think it's a cool thing to talk about. Retailers technically never talk about this. And I think in anything that you're doing as a publisher, you know, we're talking about, we're talking about how does Ollie's get all these great books at a great price, right? So we're not saying they're stealing or they're cheating, but how do we not know that publisher, that distributor, that warehouse isn't having stuff go out its back doors through its employees?
Right.
True.
Because these prices, some of these prices they get are total impossible.
I follow a lot of the dumpster diving kings. I don't know if you know what this is.
Oh yeah,
it's these guys.
Oh,
yeah. So
can't do it in New York.
Oh really?
Yeah, you can't do that in. I don't think you can do it in Arizona again. Either.
Okay. Well, this guy goes through
Pennsylvania
dumpster diving today. He just posted a video, and there was face value about $400 worth of the new Pokemon sitting in a trash bag back behind the store next to the dumpster.
Yeah.
Well,
that had to be an employee.
That's an employee setting it for themselves.
Exactly. And I just looked at that and I'm just like, oh. And here's the thing. That's $400 retail. That's like $1,600 actual value now.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a huge employee theft caught on camera.
So I don't know about your guys' states. If you call the cops, if you know who stole the stuff, you call the cops. The cops go and they find the stuff and they take it from them. I am never going to get it back. So people are like, why don't you get the police involved right away? I use them as a scare tactic so that they possibly will give me back the stuff. And then I threaten violence if they balk at it.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking as a store owner that has a very high paid lawyer, don't do what Emmett does.
Yeah, exactly. We do not. So I'm going to admit something here because I'm way past the time that they can get me on this. So I was a bagger at Safeway in 1980. Right, I was 10 years old as a bagger.
Okay, so the child.
There was no child labor law when we were kids.
No, not then. Then. Oh no, not then. No. And so every night, I'd work 3 nights a week. They'd say, Jesse, you got to take out the trash. I'm like, okay. Well, the Budweiser machine was right where the trash can was. So every night, 3 nights a week, I would take a 6-pack and put in the trash. I'm like, you guys want me to take out the trash? There you go. And then I'd go around the back on my Pro Huffy sports bike and pick up my beer.
Jesse, I don't know if anyone told you, but drinking beer when you're 10 might stunt your growth.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So there's something that I admitted live. It was bugging me forever. It's like when The Rock admitted that he stole a watch when he was like 13 years old, and he went on a show like 15 years ago and said, I got it. Oh, I think it was Jay Leno, whatever it was. He's like, I gotta come clean on this. So my conscience is clean now.
1982, I was at a store called Ventures. It was like Target, but in the Midwest. And I stole 4 of the little die-cast Star Wars action figures. I was 11 years old, and I tore the box open. I didn't.
Yeah.
And my mom saw me playing with them a couple hours later at the house when we got home. She's like, where did you get those? Oh, they were in the penny bin at Ventures. And she's like, they don't have a penny bin. And she marched me in there. And this is the funnier part of this story. And I met with the loss prevention manager, and I had to apologize. I had to, admit this. My grandfather was a sheriff. My mom told my grandfather. I got chewed out by my grandfather. And then 5 years later, I got hired at that same store. And my manager was the guy I had to admit that to. Yep. And after I got the job, after I worked really good for about a month, I told him about that. And that was my scared straight. That was my straight and narrow path.
Yeah.
4 little die-cast action figures.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's, again, different times, different world, right?
Yeah.
When we went sword fighting, we probably had real swords, right? When it's none of this new plastic crap, right?
I remember when they had to put the orange tips on the guns, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just crazy stuff. So anyways, I think that was a good conversation.
But it's all relevant because here's the thing. The same thefts are happening today that happened 26 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
The same thefts with the smash and grabs those were happening in the 30s in New York at the jewelry stores. It's just, and I mean, just this week, it was announced I think it was a Wall Street Journal. If you invested 10 years ago in Pokemon and Bitcoin, you outperformed the stock market.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you invested in
or
Bitcoin,
if you invested in Mark Spears Monsters cards,
that's true.
Check this out, you guys.
This is crazy. This is what's crazy about that. Look how many backers he had.
410.
Yeah.
Into $239,000.
That is what, $500 $500 a person?
Yeah,
this is
like
amazing.
$525.
It's $5,000 per person.
Mm-mm.
No, it's 500. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, 500.
Yeah,
This is
500. It's
okay,
crazy.
Emmett, you're not allowed to touch your till anymore.
This is very, very cool, you guys. And we kind of brought it up earlier in the show, but this just goes to prove to you that the people who are most people who are running this thing, they can't tell what's good and what's bad anymore. It's so hard to tell, what's going to work and what isn't going to work. And, Mark Spears just went and showed everybody why he doesn't have to work for Marvel, or why he doesn't have to work for DC, or why he doesn't have to, do all this stuff that, back in the day you'd have to put in your work. You got to work with retailers. You got to work with publishers. Well, you don't anymore, because you can, if you're the stuff you're putting out, the product that you're putting out, the IP that you've created is good enough, it can go onto a crowdfunding site and make you this type of money with no middleman. You know what I mean? Other than the crowdfunding site.
It's not just that either. Mark understands his customer. He feeds his customer exactly what they're asking for. His customers love old trading cards. They love the monsters. They love his color scheme.
Yep.
They love, and they love Mark.
Yep.
Every time he comes on the show, there's not one person that hates Mark in the chat.
Nope.
Like, oh, it's this Mark Spears guy again with his monsters and his, the only people who hate Mark are the people who can't make money off of Mark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing. How was this? How many days was this?
30?
Not very long.
30 or 45, I can't remember.
Project funded on
Did you get that
May.
email I sent you, Brian, early this week?
It started on, let's see here. Where did it start? It wasn't up very long. It started when the Alabama show. When was the Alabama show?
Yeah,
That was
it
a
was
month.
3 weeks ago.
Okay, so there you go. 3
4.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing: how many store owners? How many days does it take a store owner to have 400 people walk into their store?
Right.
That's crazy. The numbers of people that back this. So when you say they he's doing it and he's creating his brand, he knows his customer base, he's outperforming LCSs that have more stuff to sell than just one.
Emmett, do you do customer counts, transaction counts?
I don't know. I probably don't know it by that name.
How many sales a month do you have?
Sales per unit.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Average person's $20. I do.
So 4 items. 4 item.
Well, I was just going to share mine because I just did this report and I screen capped it. Now, So I had in the comic book store, I had 503 sales, average sale $22.49. Okay, so to speak to Jesse's numbering, and I hit my mark every month, roughly plus or minus 10 to 20%, either direction.
Right.
And that's not how many people walk through the door. That's how many, you got to figure the average customer is 2 customers,
right?
One person buying, one person, and then the average, what do they call it? Person who doesn't buy, Jesse,
Looky Lou?
Well, yeah. There's probably 2 of those for every customer. So I would probably say I have close to 2,000 people walked in my store, and that only represents 500 sales.
Yeah, which is high for retail for a mall.
25%. I would say I sell 25% of the people that come to the store.
Yeah, but I think the difference is he's in a mall, so his traffic is different than how a LCS would actually gauge their traffic. So whether it's,
I would actually probably say I do better than 25%.
I was going to say because
you're
a
I don't have,
destination.
you got to be at the 80.
I've got more looky loos than you.
So for a retailer in the mall, you're probably looking at 15 to 20% buy rate, which is huge for a mall.
Yeah.
So that's very, very good numbers. But for this,
for this is Mark in he has the exact same number of sales that I do, but his average per unit sale is 500 rather than my 500 having $22.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah, this is crazy. And that's not even it. I mean, look at this, you guys. He had the Monsters and the Wolf stuff, right? And that did 280,000 on 800 backers in April, right? So this is a prequel to Monsters. This is like a 3-issue prequel to Monsters, and it did 280,000. So you're 100% right in what you said, that Mark Spears knows how to give his fans what they want. Yep. He's very keyed in on that. And that's very important. Same with Brian Pulido, right? Same with Billy Tucci. There's these guys
I'll add one more thing to it though, Brian. Not only is Mark getting those bags, but he's also hitting record numbers at retail.
Yes.
100,000 units here, 20,000 additional units on reorder, 150,000 initial orders. You know what I'm saying? That is somebody who hasn't forsaken one for the other. He's hitting all of it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and what's great about his product, and this is what I'm seeing, because we do carry new issues and all that, is his fan base, kind of like the Sworn Comics guys, have to have everything.
Yeah.
So
people that buy McFarlane books don't technically have to have everything.
Yes, you're right, Jesse. That's another very important point.
Did you get that email I sent you on May 31st?
About?
Brian? I forwarded an email.
Did you get mine on June 1st?
Well, no, but I forwarded you an email I got from a local retailer.
Yes.
And I also sent it to Mark.
Uh-huh.
And of course, you'll know what the statement I made to Mark was.
What was the retailer? What did you send? It was
it's a catalog of a retailer who's offering all of this Mark Spears product. And I sent it to Mark Spears, and I said, Mark, these guys are in the Mark Spears business. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to have to get into that business too, because clearly he's leaving enough money on the table that these guys have an entire marketing mailer of just his product as their business model.
Yeah. We in the new store, we have the Pulido, because it's a boutique, right? We have the Pulido section, and we have the Spears section being built. Yep. And that's all it's geared towards is, and believe it or not, we have a Liefeld section, which is huge. But I think at the end of the day, we are in the business of selling books, and we have to take that sales per unit and we have to raise that. And so if someone comes in for a Mark Spears book and they buy a Mark Spears book, I didn't do anything. They came in, that's what they wanted to buy. So how do I get that add-on? Oh, you need this, or you need, well, we have that section that highlights it.
Can we see those display cases that took you 2 days to build, Jesse?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're, I don't know if you're going to be able to see them, but they're, where are they? They're
Oh
right
my God,
there.
that's some crazy.
Where the pole is,
yeah.
Those are called, this is what's crazy about these. Those are called mood cabinets. So when you walk up, it takes your temperature and it changes the color of the case light based on your mood.
Look
so
how
you
big
got
this.
red, you got blue, you got yellow, you got green.
It's nice size. That's a nice size.
That's
man.
a huge area, man.
And so we have 4 of those. So as the person walks around, this case is then be changing numbers or colors. And I was telling Shannon, someone's going to start getting pissed, right? Go, what's going on with these lights? And all of a sudden, everything's going to turn red, right? And so every section we have built is built as a boutique for that publisher, for the creator. And then obviously as the customers come in, we'll start building those customer sections, whether it be Disney and the lights all come on and turn different colors. So we really wanted to basically do that Nordstrom, Saks Fifth Avenue type collectible store and not actually be, and when I say this, this isn't a diss on anybody. I don't want to be a comic book store. I want to be that unique thing. Keep in mind, my neighbors are Aldi, Skechers, Five Below. To the right of me is TJ Maxx, Ross, PetSmart. In front of the store is McDonald's and Panda Express. So
I mean Air Force One.
Yeah. So I have to be prepared to show something a little bit different. And so that's how we invested in, and hopefully these investments are smart. But I will tell you, I can't tell you how many times I put stuff upside down, put the wrong screws in. You know, I've had 2 boxes too close to each other, and we opened up both boxes, and half of this box is on this. I'm like, this doesn't even match the pictures. You know, that's not exactly work, right? This screw doesn't work, so get a hammer. We'll make that screw. And then I'll
that
do.
That does not work with IKEA. That does not work with IKEA.
Yeah. And then here's the funny part: is I'll finish the shelf and have 20 screws left and think, oh, okay, it's done, right? And not realizing, no, they gave you 20 screws because they go someplace else. Tomorrow we receive 34 72-inch tall shelves. So I'm going to be videotaping that, see how fast it does. But your story starts the second you get that lease and you open up that door. The story doesn't start when your first customer walks in.
Well, I want to ask you guys, as collectible store owners, are you going to sell the Labubu monster elves in your store?
Yes.
Does this answer your question?
Yep.
Yeah.
If I can get them cheap enough.
Yeah, they are. Just finding the distributors for these has been a challenge. This has been on every morning show, talk show you can talk about on regular TV. Every person on YouTube is talking about these.
Well, that means I can't get them.
So once again, my daughter is way ahead of the curve. We got to, we were at C2E2, and the hotel we were at was downtown Chicago. And there was a Pop Mart, and Brian, I don't know if you can you see? Well, I don't know.
I'm at Pop Mart right now. That's what this webpage is.
Okay, so we're at the Pop Mart. They had a Pop Mart pop-up a couple blocks from our hotel.
Mm-hmm.
My kids went and waited in line. They were out of everything my kids wanted, but they still ended up buying some crap. A week later, I'm in Japan. They come over and join me. My daughter is looking everywhere for Labubus. We actually found a Pop Mart kiosk at one of the arcades we went to, and we got all these Labubus. The rest of the week that we walked around Japan, everybody was talking about her Labubu. It was like this weird, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a Japanese thing. My kids heard about it. My daughter said Labubu 5 times in a day, and all of a sudden my Instagram is nothing but Labubus. And I got into the Labubu algorithm by just hearing my daughter say Labubu 5 times. And I asked her, I'm like, how many times did you say Labubu to me yesterday? Oh, wait, 5 times. See, I have this problem with like
20.
thinking people say certain words way more times. But
So these things come in blind boxes, like old school, like Hero Clicks and stuff.
It's
blind
that,
box always sell.
It's the blind box. It's that whole business model of Kid Robot. That it's all about the buying it and being a part of it. But this is something that it's a Funko Pop. It's a Beanie Baby. It's a Pet Rock. But it's bigger because it's Yeah,
every news story is talking about it. Rolling Stone is talking about it. I started hearing about these things probably about maybe 2 months ago. Somebody mentioned it to me, and I was like, it's just another Funko Pop or a Hero Clicks thing. But
I'm going to go to Alibaba and buy La Bambas.
Well, and I actually bought one. I bought a fake, and it just arrived AliExpress today. And my daughter looked at it, and she went right at it. The eyes are wrong. The feet's wrong. The Pop Mart's deco is over here. The bag doesn't have this. And she wanted to have I go, do you want it just for shits and giggles? And she's like, no, I don't want that anywhere near my stuff. It's not a real Labubu. It's a Lababa. And I was like, okay, then I'm not buying these fucking things because the people who know are going to laugh me out of existence. It'd be like having fake Pokemon cards in my case.
Yeah.
Hey, it's crazy.
I went to a New York City Comic-Con, and this woman had Sugar Skull vinyls.
Yep.
They were awesome, but they never took off. I don't know if she ran out of money or didn't have the right marketing. But
look, they got protective cases
they have their own
for
protective cases. Yeah.
Oh my god.
When I was a kid,
like them.
When I was a kid, my mom would collect these things called Lucy and Me Bears. And then there was these ones called Precious Moments, right?
Yeah,
and they were like, and so these have been around forever for like young moms, you know, and they collect them, they put them up.
Hummels.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
It's been around forever.
People collect thimbles, you know, like people collect little things. They love collecting little things and displaying them.
The travel spoons was a huge thing that a couple of my relatives were into.
Yeah.
You can still sell them. Salt and pepper shakers from everywhere you've ever been.
Okay, so real quick, Vinny, are you still in Japan, Vinny? I think we got these for 4,000 yen, which was like $30, and you could get them from the. Is
that just for the blind box or for the case of them?
That's for the blind box. That's for one
figure.
One of these that's about 4 inches, 5 inches tall, costs about $30 US. And like I said, they have one at the mall in Novi. They have a kiosk, the same kiosk that we had in Japan at the Gigo in Japan. Vinny will know what I'm talking about. It's like a big arcade. It's like a 6-story arcade.
Comic Ozzy says I used to collect shaving blades when I was a kid. Lol. I collected nails because when we first moved to our first house, when I was like 3 or 4 years old, my grandfather walked me around and all the other houses were being built, and I would collect the little different nails, and I call them kinos. Yeah. And you know, as a little kid,
the little Jesus nails, the ones that are like skinny and flat.
All of them. You know, I just said, "Oh, those are cool. I want them." We as humans like shinies. You know, we like shinies, rocks, gold, silver.
It's in our DNA.
It's in our DNA. Yes.
Rock.
Yep.
It's how De Beers gets us with those diamonds.
Yep. So
I used to walk along the street and pick up anything.
Shells. Yeah, shells. We just like collecting.
They have one of these kiosks in the mall in Novi, Michigan. And I took my daughter out there to go shopping because I knew it was there. And I said, hey, do you want to go check out the Pop Mart? That kiosk was 50% empty. And then on my feed, they had a news story that they were reloading that kiosk some morning at the mall.
$84.
It was a 2-hour wait. It was a 2-hour wait to get to that kiosk to buy one of those Labubus.
$179 for this one.
Yeah.
They should have you do the voiceover when they would do advertising in America.
Yeah.
Labubus.
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
Listen, if it's not this, it's going to be something else.
Something else. It'll be something else next year.
Here's the thing. This is not an original idea. This is where the wild things are. Yeah. This is a Monchi-Chi from the 80s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
But it's the hot thing now. And
it's a hairy Funko.
It's a hairy Funko. Oh, that's what I'm calling these. Hairy Funkos. There you go.
Yeah, the next smash and grab's going to be Labubus.
Yeah.
That's the next smash and grab.
It probably is. You know what?
What did you just bring up? Monchi-Chis?
Monchi-Chis from the 80s.
Yeah, I know.
They look exactly like
so soft and cuddly.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
so
guys
soft
remember
and cuddly.
this? There used to be these little things that you could get from either banks or bus drivers as a kid. And they were little furry fuzz balls that had like eyes on them and feet. Do you remember those?
Yeah, they kind of looked like Big Daddy Roth eyeballs sticking out of a fuzzball. Yeah.
On a fuzzball. Then they had the California raisins. Remember those? They had the trolls. The trolls.
Smurfs was the biggest one.
What's funny is California Raisins had a great comic book. It was a thick-ass comic book that came out. I forgot who produced it, but it's called California Raisins. It's probably about 45 pages, 60 pages. Very good read, very good art.
Yep.
Yeah, but so the transition of some of this stuff becoming comic books, very, very cool, and vice versa. Right?
That was, back to Texas, Dallas. How many Labubu covers came out of Dallas? I saw at least 20 of them.
When Jesse first talked to me about them, I thought that's what he was talking about. He said, "What are up with these Labubu things?" And I'm like, "Are you talking about the comics that they're putting out, the Tildalwave books that they're putting out?" And again, it just like you're walking that fine line. This is the hottest property in toys, and you're putting out a comic book that's like based on the creator of these. I don't know.
But I think that the challenge there is, can you not do something normal? I don't know if the word normal is right, but can you not just put something out? Or do you have to have those things that touch that line because that's the only way you know how to do it? And I think that's the challenges that some of these people have. People that get stuck into only doing homages. Why? Because they can't do anything else but a homage of something.
Do you? Right. I have a question for you guys, because this is this is one of the final stories we'll talk about tonight. Because last Saturday, when I was talking to people that were at Dallas, and one of the things that came up was a Tildalwave book. This book right here. This was put out by Trinity Comics in conjunction with Tildalwave. They did a biography on Michael J. Fox. Okay. And they did a variant cover with the Sports Almanac. Now, when I first saw it, I went, "This is bullshit. They've already done this cover. It's taken away from the variant that's worth so much. That's become less collectible." And so I made a couple calls and I go, "What's going on with Trinity doing this Tildalwave book?" And then I got told, "Hold on." They go, the two people that I talked to about this said, "Hold on. Did you know that at least they went to Michael J. Fox's foundation and said, 'Do you want to do this book with us?' And on the back of this book is not the Trinity logo, it's Michael J. Fox's foundation logo. And Michael J. Fox is signing these and selling them. Now, that made me go, hold on here. That I'm cool with. if they're working with the people that the book is about, whether it's their foundation or some type of charity, like you contact the person and say, hey, I want to do this comic and we can give, half the proceeds to you or to a charity that you want. I think maybe that's the play there. Like, so my question is asking everybody
It's
out
still
there,
a play.
including retailers, if the books that Tildalwave was doing like this, that so walk that line, if they were working with the people those books were about, would you feel different?
I would not feel comfortable doing a charity taking only giving them 50%. That would be the first.
No, I'm not saying that's what they're doing. That was just in my head. I'm not saying that.
I hope they're getting at least 50%.
Throw that out. I'd throw that out.
And did Michael J. Fox have to?
I don't even know about that. Yeah, he could be getting all of it. But what I'm saying is, if they're working with the person that the book is about or that person's foundation, does that make it okay in your guys' head?
Okay, so you guys do it.
To me, not if it's still about the bag, right? Yeah. So if they're like, oh, we're going to give you this percentage off of the books, now they're talking about like it's $4.99, so we're going to pay you $2.25 or $2.50 a book. Michael J. Fox can sign some and auction them off, and how many of those Michael J. Fox signatures are we getting? And then what are they going to sell them on the secondary market for? It's just a better play.
Yeah, right? That's how I look at it. I mean, it's same exact thing. I think it's very interesting. It's another way to sell books at a convention. Just because someone agrees to do something doesn't mean that they're actually taking part in it. And so I have no problem doing something with someone if they're going to partake in it. If it's for a charity event, which we've done tons of stuff for charity, other than cost, everything goes to that charity. I think it's how they market it. Do you need to do this at a convention? Or can you just do this on your page? I don't know if this is a Trinity question. Is this a Tildalwave question?
It's a Tildalwave question. It's a Tildalwave question. If most people are kind of not okay with it because they look at it like they're skirting that IP line. Well, if you're working with that person, that IP is about, or that then it feels a little bit better. It feels like I'm okay with that now. At least if you're doing a biography on Michael J. Fox, and Michael J. Fox is actually is working with this in conjunction with this, Michael J. Fox's logo's on the back, then I feel better about it than if they are not part of it.
Right. But I think where this skates this is what we're saying is, okay, so because you did this, and this isn't you, Brian, but because you did this charity event, all this other stuff that you did, we'll ignore that.
Oh, no.
You have to create a brand that people trust across the board. And once you say, well, because I'm doing this thing with Michael J. Fox and he approved it, and his logo's on the back, just ignore this other stuff over here. So I want to see this more consistently by Tildalwave. I want to see them go out and get more of these charity events. And then you can start to say, okay, I see where we're evening out here. But if they use that one thing as an excuse, then it doesn't hold water.
So I'll be my usual self. Gray's Sports Almanac was created by a prop master, approved and produced by Universal Studios, which has the only ownership of the brand Back to the Future. To me, this is definitely a work property of Universal Studios. I'm sure that original Back to the Future variant that was made by, I think, IDW, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that said Gray's Sports Almanac.
Yeah, it looked just like that.
It looked exactly like the original. It was licensed by Universal. It was published by a licensed distributor of Universal IP. And that's why that fetched so much money, because it was official. It was an official product for the Back to the Future fans, if and this is no slight against Michael J. Fox, he wants to raise money for his charity. He'll do anything, he'll do almost anything to raise awareness for his charity, for his ailment, etc. I don't know that he knows that this is as big of an infringement on that IP as he should probably know. He might think this is just, he's probably signed a dozen or 2 dozen or 5 dozen of IDW Back to the Future comics. He might not know that this is infringed on Universal. He might not know until much later when Universal says, "Hey, are you signing these unlicensed Back to the Future comic covers?"
Yeah, here's
Can
the
you stop
original.
doing that, please?
This was from 2015 IDW Back to the Future #1, Doug Chang variant, distributed by ZBox, a website and mystery box subscription service. So this is one of the rarest comics out there.
Yeah.
And the value of it just dropped a little bit because...
well, but I think just by showing the awareness that this is an official licensed product, this went through all the proper channels, this is the collectible. This other thing is just an ape. It is just, even if and here's the thing, I also want to see a lot more transparency. If you're wrapping yourself in this Michael J. Fox Foundation, aspect. I want to know, how many did Michael sign? Did you auction off all of them? How many did you grade? Did those go to the, to these buyers or whatever? And how much of a percent is it just whatever Michael's asking fee is for his autograph is what went to the foundation? Or are you giving the after sales as well? 20%, 50%?
Right. Well, by law, they have to do it. They have to list portions of the proceeds go to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. We are donating XYZ. So, for instance, if they say for every book that we're doing, we're then give you $5 per book, and that's then go towards the foundation. But we see over here one sold for $180.27. I don't know where the 27 cents comes from, but for $180.27 it's sold for. So if they're only getting $5 a book, and again, we're just chit-chatting here, right?
Yeah.
They're only getting $5 a book. Where's that $175 going?
Yeah,
and so they need to be transparent about how the charity actually is being paid and what they're getting paid, and how does those portions of the proceeds get paid out.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Here's another interesting post that I saw this week that made me think of this show. This is writer Scott Snyder warns the industry that it will not survive in tough economy if it does not embrace a monthly comics. According to Scott Snyder, one of his aims with Absolute Batman was to make sure that each issue having a big bombastic moment that would get readers talking, as he believes that re-embracing this spirit of monthly comics is perhaps the only way for Western comic book industry to survive through the current period of economic turmoil. He says, quote, "There's a reckoning happening in comics." The DC Scribe then warned, quote, "If we don't focus on what makes monthly comics special, we won't survive in a tough economy, so we're all taking our biggest swings." And there was very interesting to read all the comments from many names that you recognize, some you don't, but comments like, okay, how about stop gatekeeping comics behind specialty stores and start selling them in grocery stores again? The problem isn't price, it's access. Trades in digital are easier for most people to find, and that's why people buy them that way. Another one says, kids are priced out of comics, and who wants 10 variants for every issues? I thought the 90s greed was over, but nope, it's much worse now. I mean, the comments on this were unreal to keep reading. I would suggest that if anybody gets a chance, go look this up. This is from Gunverse on IG, at Gunverse, and it was just very interesting.
That's actually a surprisingly great IG account, too, because they do kind of the aggregate that comicbook.com used to do. And they're usually where I get most of my breaking news from.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, people saying, I agree, also stop with 7-issue arcs just to sell books. I miss the days where a comic had actual dialogue and took one issue to complete the story, i.e. Days of Future Past was 2 issues, but it had dialogue. You know, I mean, the comments in here.
There's a lot of haters.
There's a lot of haters, and it's golden. It's absolutely golden. So
there's no way you can do a post like this and not get people that have no information on the comic book industry. And then they have the people that have a high opinion that are in the industry. The notion is, how do we sell books? And when we see articles like this, there are more places to sell books than ever in our history. So when someone brings up, oh, we got to get these in a department store, we got to do this, or how many more platforms do we need? Take advantage of the platforms that you have now, and then we'll involve ourselves back into a grocery store. But right now, we just talked about Kickstarters. You ain't selling, there's no way Mark Spear's trading card is doing $240,000 in comic book stores. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
No.
Great point.
Well, that
Or
was,
in
you know,
grocery
I wanted
stores.
I wanted to tell Phil that when he was talking about that, when he was, you know, saying, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Thundercats, you know, going to Kickstarter. That's because this comic retail industry is so weak. These IPs can't trust that we can order anywhere near the product that they would want to have with that IP. They have to go to the public because the retailers don't have $200 or $100 to drop on a book series to sell for $200. You know, they're going to order one and hope that there's 5 more if those sell.
And then the final thing I want to talk about is, have you guys been seeing the Walmart Live stuff? And they have started. They are starting. They hired people that they bring in the space. Here we go.
Find me and Zach on Walmart. Be the Hobby. You can find me and Zach on Walmart Live on Friday, May 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be ripping 2024 Panini Select Hobby. We're running a PYT break and spots will be available to purchase before we even go live. See you guys.
That's crazy. I mean,
yeah.
We're already
So this has been in development for about a year. The gentleman that does comics is actually doing everything right now. There are 5 comic book stores that technically have been picked. I can't announce those 5 comic book stores, and it might have expanded, but I will tell you the very first person that you will see, it won't be McFarlane himself, but you will be seeing McFarlane Toys huge in live streaming on Walmart. They have had, just like the issues of eBay, of trying to figure out, okay, how do we pay people? But they are going through the most basic concepts, understanding that when this goes live, an eBay customer and a Whatnot customer, obviously eBay customers spend a little bit more per sale than a Whatnot customer. But now you got Walmart, whose customer base average purchase is extremely low.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting on how those challenges start. Or do they bring that collectible world in it? They have tons of money to do this.
Yeah.
They started bringing in sellers who were just doing buy it now about 2 years ago, and that's kind of started to fruition and do very well. So I think this is going to be very, very exciting. Look for this to go full, probably 2026, January, February. They're then do their beta. And it's a very interesting product. I've been talking to them about this for about 8 months, and
sounds like they're already in their beta.
Oh yeah, I've gone through all this. This interview started, I believe, in February or March of last year, and it was very select group of people. I'm not privy to talk about too much of this, but it is going to be something that will expand your base tremendously, and I think it's very, very exciting.
Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out in the future.
So exciting! I think Emmett went to Walmart to.
I know, he's like, holy shit! I gotta go sign up for this. I have some pickups.
All right.
That are pretty cool. So this is what I wish. I probably shouldn't say this because I'm going to do this. So what I'm going to create today, and you guys are probably going to say, someone already does this, but I'm going to create a live streaming company that you say, I just bought this box. We go live. I go through your box for you and tell you what your good stuff are. And this is why I say that, because I just got all these Pokemon things from Walmart, right? What
are they?
$5 a bag for Pokemon cards. There's about 200 cards in there. Unsorted.
Walmart is selling
not
bags of
Walmart.
Pokemon?
Goodwill.
Oh, Goodwill. You said
Yeah.
Walmart.
So $5 for 200 cards, right? I don't have time to go through all these cards. So if I could go on Zoom call with someone who could say, oh yeah, that's good. There you go. So I end up picking up 3 bags. So kind of cool, just kind of discussion. But this is what I picked up this a couple weeks ago, and I never got a chance to show you guys this. So I picked this up at a garage sale. Can you highlight that, Brian? So these are the World War II Coca-Cola posters. I'm sorry, not World War II. This is it World War II?
What
Maybe
year?
it is World War II.
What's the year?
Oh, 1955, not World War. Korean.
Korean.
Yeah. So I picked up these, and it's a 12-piece. It's kind of a very cool, kind of a bombshell type covers. And it's one for each month. So I'm just going to show you like 5.
So there's 12 of them or 6 of them?
No, there's one per month.
There's 2 per, there's 2
You have
per
2
month.
months on there, so there's 2 per
There's
month.
2 months on each
Is it?
one.
Okay. So maybe I do have all 6.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's 6.
So I do have the whole set of these. So
That's
I thought
how the
those were
calendar
great.
works.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
back
it's all
in 1954.
Yeah.
That's
so,
cool.
Anyways, that's my pickups. I wanted
Dennis?
to show you folks.
I'm at my house. I don't bring geeky shit here unless it's just something to throw on my back.
Yeah,
But
well, did anything come into the store this week?
Yeah, more Nintendo NES cartridges. I can't get enough. More systems. I got a Sega Master System in. I got a white PS3 top loader.
Wow.
That I never see those ever, and they don't go for much, even when they're working great shape. But it's beautiful. It's just something you just never see.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we're selling big monster things. We sold a $250 3DS. We sold a $350 Pokemon card. That's just what I paid attention to. So yeah, stuff's coming in, stuff's moving out. That's all I care about.
Nice. Emmett, you get any pickups this week? Anything coming to the store?
There was, but I wasn't around. I was hanging out down in the Bronx, and not in a good way.
Yeah,
amen.
So let me ask you this before we leave. Do you guys feel comfortable with you not being the buyer?
Yeah, no, I allow them to buy. They're not great negotiators.
No.
But anybody really can be a buyer. I mean, you just they know my 40%. eBay's last 3 sales. I mean, it's pretty simple. Average the last 3 eBay sales, pay them 40%. Now, when unusual stuff comes in, they have to wait till I'm back. And that's the stuff that sells the best, man. The more unique it is, the more out of this crazy stuff. Nobody would ever bought that. Toys that were like $200 or $300 when we were kids. Like nobody got those.
No.
Yep.
So have you had a buy where you walked in and said, "Why did you buy this?"
Probably. One doesn't come to my mind, but probably. They ask me all the time why I buy shit. I bought like 3,000 magazines, and it was Soldier of Fortune,
Kung Fu,
karate stuff, not the actual Kung Fu magazine, but karate, guns, blades, knife, and High Times. And they're like, "Why would you buy all this stuff?" And I'm like,
Frazetta.
25 cents a piece.
Yeah.
That Frazetta cover, man, I love that Frazetta cover. I don't think I'm going to sell it.
I bought 100 Dragon magazines at 50
great
cents
sellers.
a piece. I
Great
love them.
sellers. Yeah.
What were they?
Oh, and then
Dragon
Dragon
you know,
magazine.
the
Oh yeah,
RPG,
Dragon. Yeah,
the
yeah.
RPG magazine.
And then there was 2 tubs of Playboys he threw in. So
there you go.
You know, every college issue sells for a bunch of money because some alumni from that college wants it or went to school with her. Every female wrestler that was in, they all sell for money. China gets like $20, $25. Sable gets, I think, like $15-$20.
Yeah.
And when you're getting them for free, oh, here, take this with the stuff you only paid 25 cents a piece for.
Yeah.
But you have to have the processes to keep them moving.
Yep.
Which I still have more to put in place.
Well, I have a process. It's called beyondwednesdays.store. That is the website. Go check it out, you guys. We'll have the variants that Beyond Wednesdays is working on there. Grommets is available if you guys want to get a set of cover A with the Beyond Wednesdays variant, limited to 500 copies. It's available either at beyondwednesdays.store, or if you just look on YouTube for the store link, you can find it. But also, it is being updated all the time. We updated a ton of apparel stuff today, starting with some crazy shirts, as you guys can see here, old comic and band shirts. I have this failure shirt up for $150, and during the show, I got a buy it now offer for $90 for it just now. So all vintage, early 2000s and later.
Is this from your eBay store translated over to your webpage?
Yep.
Ooh,
yeah.
So they go to the link and it takes them to eBay.
Yeah. So if you go to beyondwednesdays.store, you can look at shop and just shop like for the variants that we have. You can hit eBay store, and anything on my eBay store you can find. You can hit the fan apparel, souvenir. I'll have all these going, clothing, shoes and accessories, all types of stuff.
Show everybody that Alex Ross Poison Ivy.
Oh, right here. Yeah, this is crazy.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah. So if you go
It's a
check it
great
out,
shirt.
you can go to eBay. And that's from Graffiti Designs, Justice. All these shirts that I'm putting up, half of them were never worn. Half of them were worn once or twice. There's still about 5 or 6 with the tags still on them. For instance, that All-Star Game one.
Does it come with real Brian Pitt stains?
No. The All-Star.
They weren't yours, right?
Yes, these are all mine. 100%.
Oh, these were yours.
These are all mine. Yeah. So I found a tub of them going through a storage locker I had, and some of them were never these guys were never worn. Some of them still have the tags on it. Like, look at this. I found this. My parents got me this when I was a kid. They went to the '89 All-Star Game, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game in Anaheim. Yeah. And they got me for this when I was a kid, and I never wore it or put it on or anything. The tag is still on it. It's a boys large 1989 California Angels All-Star Game.
You've grown up since then.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's the type of
That's
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah. So if you guys are into that stuff, go check it out.
I did get this new Jaws shirt in.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Yeah,
So-
for the 50th anniversary type deal. So very cool. So that kind of stuff. Yeah. So shirts are amazing. You just have to know nostalgia. You got to know vintage.
There's no margins in new shirts.
Yeah.
No, none.
Unless you're
Yeah.
making them yourself.
Yeah.
Well,
you have
that
to
was
get
one
the
of my
old
biggest
ones.
complaints at Diamond back in the day. I was like, Diamond, how is it the best comic book store merchandise is sitting at Five Below, and you still have merchandise that's cost $10 at $20 retail, but I can get a better poster of a popular franchise for $5. And
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They're literally next door to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this does not make sense. How can your Spider-Man poster be $3.99?
Yeah.
Yeah. And ours have to be $8.25, right? $8.29.5.
Yeah.
Something like that.
$4 cost.
Yeah. At least.
But here's the thing. Because I don't think Diamond was ever aggressive with trying to find those cheaper price points by doing the collective buying.
Because they can't guarantee the numbers, because we weren't
Right.
part of the buying group.
Right.
We were accounts, and we got to go, I don't want this. I kind of want that.
Yeah.
I'll wait till that goes on sale. You know, if it was a buying group and they're like, all right, everybody's allocated these 4 posters, but you can sell them at $4.
I was talking to, and I'm sure one of you guys, but George Chase put me onto them. It's one of the poster companies that makes those cardboard shrink wrapped posters.
Yeah.
And the wholesale cost, and I'm like, yeah, there you go. The wholesale cost on those is like $3.50, $4 a piece. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I would pay $3.50 for just the cardboard.
Yeah.
So
to put my posters on.
Hey guys,
they sell all these at $2.99.
What?
$2.99. So again,
my oldies didn't have. What aisle are they in? Fuck me.
They're in
I gotta
the
go to there
aisle
tomorrow.
You gotta walk down every freaking aisle, dude. If you see food, trust me, you're gonna find toys in the food area. They have no organization. It's where does this fit?
Yeah.
If the fans
God
fit
damn
in the popcorn section, that's where they're going to go.
Yep.
Well, excellent show tonight, you guys. Thank you for everybody hanging out with us.
We never got David Lee Roth.
We don't get David Lee Roth in this show.
I thought.
No.
I thought that was the.
You know,
the
this
close-
is our 67th show or 69th show, and you're waiting for David Lee Roth.
I thought David Lee Roth comes on after but that's Drama Alert.
That's Drama
not
Alert.
Unfiltered. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at you,
Wow.
stuck in a different mindset. Ladies and gentlemen, we
Brian,
love you guys.
I put that link to the Fisher House in private chat because I don't think it was able to go into comments.
Well, this is very cool. For those of you guys that don't know, shout out to the guys on the show. Something very cool happened tonight. The money that Dennis bet us in the bet from the show a few nights ago has been graciously chosen to be sent to a veterans charity. Shout out to Sean Hudachko, who when we started talking about it at the beginning of the show and mentioned everything, Sean said, you know what, send my $100 to a veterans charity. I said the same, and Emmett said he's going to match it, and so is now Sean. So we've got a bunch of money that's going to be being sent to the Fisher House organization. These guys will get it all set up and put together, and we'll show you how much is sent.
I sent you in Instagram. I sent you my receipt.
That's awesome. So Emmett's already sent his, and
Send mine right now.
this is super cool, you guys. We'll show you the receipts next week. And a big shout out to Sean Hudachko, who was in the chat. He might be gone already, but we appreciate you, man, for that.
Absolutely, brother.
That was a
He's a
very,
old
very
guy,
great recommendation. And we'll see you guys soon. Adios. See you tomorrow night. Much love. Peace.